You ready? Man, I'm excited to have you here, sir.
Yeah, dude.
I'm excited
I've
to
been
have
looking
you.
forward to it.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Week.
Yeah, me too. So I got Chris Archer in the fucking hot seat at the ranch today. I'm excited. We've had, obviously, I think our closest kind of alliance is Marcus.
Yeah.
And I've just been a fan and followed you. And you guys played on a team together,
USA.
right? Team USA.
Yeah.
That won it.
Yeah.
So I was there. I was actually there. I was at Dodger Stadium, right?
Yeah,
Marcus pitched
he was
the
MVP.
World Baseball Classic.
Right.
And y'all fucking won it.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
And you also know Jake Miller.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Is he from the same area as you? Or no, just from Florida,
yeah.
playing on the Rays.
Yeah. And he threw out a first pitch, and Marcus was like, "Hey, my boy Mike's boy Jake is throwing out the first pitch. Can you catch it?" And me and Jake are cool. Like, I'll run into him randomly. Like, he'll be doing a show in Chicago, and I'll be in Chicago, and we'll link up. And he's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
Good dude.
I haven't fucking seen him in years, though. Like, given our perspective. Yeah, like, I just haven't seen him. Is he living in LA? Is anyone?
In Sherman Oaks, I think.
Sherman Oaks? It's close.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, I haven't fucking seen him anywhere. Shout out Jake. We should probably get him on here at one point. Yeah.
He's all pretty and stuff now.
He's like a male model.
He's
or something,
all pretty and stuff. No, like back then he was like up and coming, and but now he's just chiseled up and like yoked
Men's
up.
Health, cover of Men's Health.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Jake. Yeah, no, for sure.
How do you stay in such good shape? Like, you take your shirt off the bong of beer, and I'm like, damn, how can I get chiseled up like that for real?
Oh man, honestly, bro. As I got a little, it's weird. As I got a little older, right? I would say, like, even when I played baseball, not until I was like 21, 22, I started getting more muscular. Like, I'm talking even, that's when my career ended, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, the training that we did for pitching.
Long distance running.
Yeah, it was just like, I had kind of a weird body. Like, I have like a kind of strange shaped body in some ways, like long torso, small chest, like, but big, always had big arms, big legs type thing. But as soon as I got out and started doing the beach workouts, you know what I mean?
Your
Like,
body just
like growing up a baseball player and a pitcher, especially, when you get into the teens, you start fucking with girls, and you're like, I always.
Hey, my mom might be listening.
Yeah,
man.
sorry.
Come on.
My mom's used to it. She's used to it. Sorry, Mrs. Archer. Like, I remember being like, man, I wish I could get on the bench press, man, and fucking.
Your body responds well to the beach workout.
Yeah. So I would say, like, from the time 21, 22 to now, like, it's been a build to where I am now. But I've gone through periods of, like, when we tour, I get a little, like, I'm definitely not in as good shape.
Well, because you can't eat, you can't train.
I'm drinking my ass off on tour. One, two, going city to city on a schedule. Our schedule's horseshit. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking, like, you wake up in the city, you got 3 hours before a meet and greet or a radio, something we're gonna do, right? So usually, like, you wake up, go, change, and then, like, somewhere around the venue in these, a lot of college towns or cities, not really eating healthy, and then your second meal, you're already wasted. You get off stage, like, give me a pizza.
So why do entertainers, like, drink a lot, and then sometimes it turns into, like, serious drugs, and we've lost a few.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
I've seen it. I'm so close to it here. So many people that I'm actually close friends with and acquaintances with struggle intensely with it, and I think there's a few reasons. I think the pressure to be creative. Let's be honest. Like, for a guy who's spent his life immersed in athletics, still to this day, you probably haven't even had the chance to, like, engage in any, like, psychedelics or these things that they're very, very. There are benefits to the turn up.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it that way, right?
Okay, yeah.
Creatively, like, some of the best music. If you talk to some artists, some songwriters, they're like, yo, all the best shit happens at fucking 4 a.m. off the wave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why all these
businessmen.
That's why all these like the rappers you were talking about, like, a lot of people who, like, really want the lyrics, and the style of where rap has gone. It's just very, like, everything's like the way rap is now, everything's so authentic. You're talking about what you're doing in the moment, what's going on. That's why it's like lean this, that.
Yeah.
Because they're on it. They're off that wave. And
Yeah. You sounded like Future a little right there when you said that.
Yeah. From smoking, man, my voice has definitely gotten a little deeper in texture and shit. But
I like your voice now.
Thank you, bro.
Compared to
the old shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, well, there was two reasons. One, it was the beginning of my career, and I was like,
trying to find it.
Like, it's my rap voice. You know what I mean? Like, here's my rap voice.
Like, hi, I'm Dan Rather.
Yeah, like whatever you're like, if you're going to do a fucking broadcast job, like you know, like, and it's a rookie move. You know what I mean? That's like not knowing really, like. Over time, I realized you have to be like authentically you and comfortable on records. It feel like it's a frequency listening to music. It's all like vibrations, right? And like if you, it's a subconscious thing, but you can feel authenticity through those vibrations. And that's why some music hits a certain way, because you're like, this just feels so right. And you can't really put a finger on what it is about it, but that's that authenticity. Like when someone's so comfortable on that music, and it just feels like an instrument amongst the other instruments, and it's like, that's what being truly comfortable in your artistry sounds like. And it took me years to establish that.
I feel like this is my first off season in LA, and I feel like LA welcomes the authenticity.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll just give you a couple examples. Like, I've been mistaken for a homeless person. I've been around people with $50 million in the bank that have no ice, no bling.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I've been hit on by, homosexual men. I've been hit on by like models. And it's just like, people feel when you're being real. Because everybody wants that secure feeling. We all have our insecurities, inadequacies. Like, if you say you don't, then you're just lying.
Right.
But when people feel that energy, that vibration, and you're talking about vocal, but it's your aura. It's an energy.
For sure.
It attracts everyone. So
it's contagious.
So you can be offered money, like somebody thinks you're homeless, or a dude that likes other men will be attracted to you. Like,
LA is a fucking, like, I call it Fantasy Island. It's just like, feels like a different life, kind of like
whatever you want to be, man.
There's so much going on, and there's just so much opportunity, but there's so much fuckery. You know what I mean? Like, as far as just like people come out here, and like a lot of people kind of approach it in a way like, fake it till you make it. Gotta finesse my way in here. There's a lot of finessers, like aren't really doing shit, but always there. And you're like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, and that's all okay. But like, it is, what are your thoughts on it? What's your reaction to being here? Do you like it?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And
people have mixed like I asked some athletes who are like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
No. And like you said, it's a choice. I think there's the highest quality of everything here.
Facts.
Nutrition and wellness.
Facts.
That's what LA's like centered around, from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. People encourage you to be you. So like, I have some friends from North Carolina coming out, and we're like going to a little party on Saturday. Not a Mike Stud party, but a little gathering.
We can change that.
Yeah. And my friend was like, well, what should I wear? I was like, look, you can dress to the nines, or you can wear sweats, and no one's gonna judge you, because like, it's just all about being you.
Yeah.
So I like it, and I've met people with a different level of wealth, like people with 50 mil in the bank, and like, to have 50 mil in the bank, you got to make like 120.
Yeah.
Taxes, lifestyle,
especially living here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you've earned 120 million, and now you got 50 chilling, and they don't have to flex. They're secure. Like,
it's my favorite guys.
And it changed me a lot. I've been working with a mindfulness coach out here.
Love it. Who?
His name's Peter Crone.
Okay.
And he lives in the Palisades. Beautiful house.
Beautiful place.
7,000 square feet. Just everything. Everything's there. And we just have really like peeled back some layers. And I don't have 50 mil in the bank, but I still, and I'm financially secure, but I still wanted to feel valuable to other people.
Right.
Totally. We've gotten to the root of it. I might not reveal it right here, right now, but I wanted to feel validation from other people.
Yes.
So I would normally have at least 3 chains on. Bracelets. I would always wear this watch. And
She's a dandy.
No, it's nice. And so we'll let me get to that. Yeah. So I was wearing all that other stuff because I didn't feel valuable on the inside. So I would try to express my value on the outside.
Right.
So I wouldn't be mistaken as a homeless person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like they would know, like when I walked to Alfred Coffee, oh, this dude, he's something.
Who's that?
Exactly. And dude, after just a couple months of peeling back the layers, I don't need that to feel valuable anymore.
Awesome. This
I got for myself as a gift for making the 2017 All-Star team.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. It was my second one, but it's whatever. I don't. We can talk about baseball, but you're so deep, dude. I've listened to your music. I figured we wouldn't talk a whole lot about it.
We go where we go, baby. Yeah. Dude, it's really funny you bring up this jewelry thing because, I've really had. It was really this year. I'd say the last 3 years or so, like really been able to financially be very secure. Like we talked about it out there a little bit, just being independent and building, it's hard. It's a hard mountain to climb, but if you do get over the mountain where you have enough fans ready to be monetized, sure, it's not mainstream numbers at all as far as the amounts, but having the lion's share of the monetization and building that up. And I've always been very intrigued by capitalism and understand and like that mountain to climb. It's kind of like part of a reason of waking up. You know what I mean? Like there's these goals and these financial goals, that financial liberty I want to have to be able to tell my mom and dad, you guys are good. Like everyone's good, and being able to have them. Yeah, exactly. We'll bring up, I saw your video. It's fucking awesome. But I landed here and I have these house I always dreamed of and everything is flowing and working. And I was just like, just this year, really going deeper into, like kind of what you're doing, diving into peeling layers back and understanding yourself as a man. And it's funny, man. I literally I'm never been a jewelry guy. I dress fucking stone cold Steve Austin, $50 t-shirts and I've never been that kind. And I've always challenged myself to stay authentic. I'll buy, designer jeans or like nice certain things, shoes. Always been a shoe guy.
But see, if that's your thing, that's
really my thing. Probably sneakers.
It's not for other people,
right?
And that's where getting this, it has sentimental value
for sure.
I earned this, like,
for sure. And it's a reminder. It's like you know.
Yes, every single day.
And long story short, just talking about watches. I legitimately turned to my friend earlier. I want to say earlier in the day. There was a day that this happened where I was like, I haven't even looked at the watch. I had a Rolex. I was like, I haven't looked at the time on this once. I've had it for 2 years. It actually said the wrong time. Of course. It wasn't even, and I was just like, after everything I've been kind of learning and studying about, just mindfulness, but also just like my ideologies about life and like kind of learning more about that and what I agree with and the idea of the ego, and I was like, this is just for my ego. This is just so when I'm talking to someone, he can take a look at my wrist and be like this, like just be like, and I said, that's whack. I remember I turned to my boy in the car and I said that night I ended up getting fucked up here, right? Somehow we end up playing high stakes horse out front, playing, shooting hoops in the morning, like 6 in the morning or something. We had like a long night. We're here working, partying, shit. For whatever reason, my fucking Rolex is in the street. I wake up to my boy Versace. He's like, yo, bad news. Like your Rolex, I found it in the middle of the street, ran over by a car. How does that even happen? You know what I mean? And I was just like, I'm an omens guy. I definitely I think everything is like, everything starts in your mind, and then like somehow the universe. I believe in that. Whatever you want to believe, I believe that like things start in your mind and ideas start in your mind. And the universe, like if you're truly dialed in, it will attract that and it will bring it to you and bring it to your life. And that was just like one of those aha, like, and like right away we're like, oh, we can get it. We have insurance. I can get it. And I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I don't even want that shit. We're gonna make it like an art piece called like Time Is Money. That's cool. So that's what I'm gonna do. Like it's just a shattered Rolex, but. it was a liberating feeling when I right away I was like, I don't even want it. I don't want it back. You know, and it was such a liberating feeling. And I haven't thought, like, sometimes, like, I have some really wealthy friends, that business guys that I do stuff with, obviously post, you know, and I understand it, but like the most wealthy guys I know, they're not being flashy about it.
And I think I was talking about this with somebody close to me the other day. It's about mental wealth, you know.
Facts.
And there's a lot for us. The fact that we can have it makes it easier for us to not want it.
Right.
So we have to go through that phase, man.
Right.
You have to go through the phase. Like J. Cole was talking about it in 2013, like with in the song Chaining Day. Like he wanted a chain so bad. He knew he didn't need it. He knew it meant nothing.
Dope song.
He wanted it so bad. But you don't know that you don't need it until you have it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. We have to go through these experiences,
right,
good and bad,
right,
to know, like,
I like
what
that
we don't
you said
need.
that. For those listening, he put quotes around bad. Why'd you do that?
Because
air quotes. I should say.
It's easy, again, for me to say. I don't know what everyone in the world's dealing with, but I feel like every experience is good, because even the ones that don't turn out how you expected, you learn the most from. If you go out there and you win every game and every song's a hit and everything you do is massive, like, you don't learn, you don't grow, you don't evolve. So, dude, like, I learned the most from losing 19 games in 2016. Next year I made the All-Star team. This past year, worst year of my life. Like, not from a win-loss standpoint, but
just everything.
I was super injured. I wasn't myself on the mound, and my ERA there was a 5. There was a 5 at the beginning of the number.
Right.
And, you know, I feel like my numbers don't define me.
Right.
But that poor season was a reflection of where I was at mentally and physically. I wasn't there.
What was going on mentally? Is there a reason? Are you able to pinpoint a reason?
Yeah, I think working with my guy Peter, we've peeled back some layers, and there's always been, I'm getting real, like,
let's go.
There's always been something holding me back, and I've recently let go of it. I've never said anything like this, and my friends that are more spiritual and more on the hippie side,
fuck that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, they say things like this, and I've never felt it till now. Once I came to terms with what was holding me back and I let it go, I felt like something leaving my body. Like, if you can imagine like a steam room where you can see like the steam. I felt like that anger and negative energy like leaving my body. And look, I'm a happy dude.
Right.
Like, I've had a great life.
Yeah.
But like I said, we all have things.
For sure.
And the more layers you have on top of them, the less they seem like they're there.
The further they get buried.
Exactly. So I confront. Like, I don't need to address that. I'm good. I'm in the big leagues, 2-time All-Star, financially
living
secure.
my dream.
Like, I'm cool. Like,
Right.
like, I have a lot of beautiful things in my life.
Right.
But like, dude, we had this conversation. I just broke down, and it made me really understand the term hurt people. Because, like, if you see people who are a dick and they're always mean to everybody, and girls that are just rude and unkind, there's something in there that they haven't addressed that makes them want to bring the other person down to their level. And I did that to like one person in my life, my whole life, the person who gave me life. And it was just wrong. Yeah, my biological mother. So, like I said, I had a beautiful upbringing. My grandparents raised me.
Yeah, please share. It's a crazy story.
So at a very young age, my biological mother made a choice that was a blessing. She made a choice to allow my grandparents to raise me so she could pursue some other things.
Her biological mom.
Yes. And so it's my biological grandmother and my step-grandfather. I didn't want to go into too much detail.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But my grandparents raised me. And she went and pursued a relationship, and it didn't work out. And for the longest time, I just like held
anger.
Yeah, towards her. I'm doing clinics and camps for kids that need help, and supporting other people's families, like with my time, and even helping them out with Christmas and stuff. But like, towards her, I was
Cold.
I was a different person. And once I realized that, this is what Peter said to me. He's like, do you want for her to go to the grave with a broken heart due to you? I paused and just,
Yeah, that's crazy.
bro, like
That's
I
crazy.
lost it. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to go to
Right.
the grave with a broken heart because
So
of me,
cool.
especially not the person who gave me the gift of life and help. Like, she put me in an environment to put me here with
win.
you today.
Yeah.
And I always knew she gave me a gift, but I would still spin
It was
it.
bitter. Yeah.
Yeah, I would still spin it. And over Christmas, I like sat down with her, and I hope she's okay with me talking about this.
Yeah.
But I sat down with her and told her, like, I'm sorry for the way I treated you. Like, it wasn't right. What you did for me was,
Wow.
and that, so,
How did you? Is that where you felt the
so
uplifting?
prior to that is whenever I felt like the energy leaving my body. And before I had that conversation with her, which was like probably 2 weeks after I realized that,
Right.
dude, I couldn't sleep. Like, I called Peter and said, dude, like, I don't know what I'm gonna say, man. Like, I'm nervous as shit. I don't really get nervous that
Right,
much
right,
because
right.
we do things on such a big stage.
Right.
Conversation with anybody is like easy.
Right.
And so I was kind of like freaking out a little. He's like, look, man, just what you said to me on the couch 2 weeks ago, just say that. It's not scripted because it's coming from your heart. And I've just felt this joy, this deeper happiness
That you never really felt before.
that I never felt before. And that's what it's allowed me to be more giving. Like with the situation with my parents, one of my recent posts on Instagram, I bought my parents cars for Christmas.
Tearjerker.
Yeah.
Real tearjerker on that.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like military when they come back.
Oh yeah.
And gifting
Gets you every time.
parents
Gets me
like
every
things.
time.
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have such.
So that was part of, this whole understanding. And after you had that conversation, you said you were also inspired to make those purchases.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel there's more space in my mind for creativity and giving and thoughtfulness and everything. And it's something that Peter talks about too. And I don't want to just sit here and gas him up, but the conversations with him have changed my life. But basically, if we have a blank canvas, slowly over the course of time, there's clutter. There's things that get on the canvas that don't allow us to be creative.
Taking up space.
Exactly. So that was the biggest space taker. I removed it and I'm like, oh, like
Feel light.
you feel it physically, you feel it mentally.
Yep.
Like your smiles are brighter.
Yep.
Everything's just like the sun just hits you different.
Amazing.
And so,
Amazing.
dude, like I don't know, like us like connecting was really special to me, the timing of it, because it was just after that.
Awesome.
And I've been watching your progression because I didn't really start listening to your music till your album For the Homies.
Yeah. That was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I listened to it every day on my way to spring training. It was about
Amazing.
a 40-minute drive. So I could listen to like at least half the album and then roll it over the next day.
Amazing.
And I was like, wow, this dude's legit. So I said, you know what? This was recently after we spoke about coming here. I listened to your old stuff and you're such a different person.
I know.
And Marcus told me about like the silent retreat in Hawaii that you went on.
Well, we
and-
haven't even really. We just talk. Like I've gone out and done some like silent retreat stuff. Like I'll take a day to me and Marcus are like planning on doing.
Yeah.
I basically was like, yo, this should be the annual thing. We go and do take a day or two. It's really just like a weekend, where you go. Essentially, you could have dinner together at night, but like you go out on a trip and there's like set hours. There's like actual camps where you go to and there's set times for meditation. You go on a nature, go on a nature retreat and go.
Have you talked about that a lot to your fans?
No.
I didn't mean to like.
No, it's okay.
But
Yeah.
I feel like
I've been super upfront with where I've gone mentally.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was through hardship. Like a lot of what you're talking about, I can connect to. I had a lot of bitterness through my last relationship. I really did. And it was when you said all the best things come from the worst experiences.
Yeah.
It's just like this is what I've been preaching on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I felt that weight. Once I heard people articulate, like I had never really, I was always just shoulders
tough and strong.
you know, like
Yeah.
fuck it, you know what I mean, like. And
I mean, your name's Mike Stud.
yeah,
Like, you're a fucking
well,
stud.
not for much longer, but yeah.
Yeah. It was
Right, but it
formerly
was,
known as.
yeah, exactly. But it was just such a teaching time in my life where I really like I felt the growth. I hadn't been growing. Like I was like, oh my God, I haven't been growing for years, you know, like as much as my life was growing and my success and, you know, from the outside looking in, like, wow, look at the, you know, like, but it was just
Personal
the personal growth that I felt through the hardship of that and understanding. But like a lot of the shit you're talking about, I mean, I got into content, meaning changing the input I was acquiring every day. Instead of waking up and going on Instagram and like, oh, they were partying and all this bullshit. What happened at a rap concert? Like, I changed the content and I started really like into people like the guy that you sat down with, you know, like learning about mindfulness, learning about, you know, being able to assess your person, like my personality, assessing the way I react to things, assessing the way I act, and being able to break that down and have people articulate it and like strike chords with me. It was life changing. Yeah, it really was. But like what you're talking about, there was a story. This dude Wayne Dyer talks about his dad.
I love Wayne.
You do?
Wayne
Amazing.
is the OG.
He is.
Like,
it's my dog.
It was a sad day. I didn't even know him. But when I heard he passed away a year or two ago, it was a sad day.
I didn't even get I wasn't aware of him until he had passed.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, but man, he tells
He's
us
the ultimate speaker.
Yeah, I know.
Like
something about his voice. Yeah, his voice,
his presence, and like just like he's always clean, bald head, and just he looks big. I don't know how tall he was, but like
he looks tall.
He just has the.
Right.
It reels you in.
He's got the sauce.
He does.
But the story about his dad, you know, his dad left him, and he tells a story where his life, he was struggling. He was struggling with not severe alcoholism, but drinking every day. He had minor success. Like he's had a decent life. You know what I mean? He had a book published at the time or whatever the situation was. He was teaching at a university and doing fine, you know, but he, you know, was walking around with this poison. Like he was walking around with the poison of the distaste he had for his father, and the distaste, you know, his father passed away without him even really ever talking. And he took that with him for so long. And for whatever reason, he's like, one day I was drawn. I didn't even have plans. I was just drawn to go to his grave. And he had no plan to go to his, he had no plan. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go and make peace. You know, it's just like, I'm just going to go. And he went and he motherfucked him. He went to the grave and he motherfucked him. He's like, fuck you, like all this shit, you know, goes back into his car, starts to drive away. And he's like, that same voice that told me to go to the grave told me to go back. And he goes back and has this breakthrough. And he's like, you know what? He really like, it was like, he kind of explains it like it wasn't really even him. That's how it felt. Like he was just like, you know, someone talking through him and basically just accepted it for what it was and said, I love you and I'm no longer angry. And he's like, dude, it was, you know, what you explained exactly. Just, he talks about how he felt like he was light as a feather and then went on to write 5 bestsellers in the next, you know, 5 years. And he said, creatively, I had so much space. Everything was so much easier. And like someone put it this way, and it was really life-changing for me. For you to hold a grudge, no matter what the person did, for you to hold a grudge, it's like you taking poison and expecting it to poison them. It's like, let me poison myself and walk around with this bad energy and this grudge. And all I'm going to do is hurt my relationships, hurt my life, hurt my circumstances, hurt my future. Instead, if you're able to take control of it and actually like excommunicate the grudge out of you, you know what I mean? And clear, you're really just, all you're doing, like kind of what you did with your mom just recently. It's like, man, you're freeing yourself up for so much more life. And for me, that was huge because this was the first time I was really ever wronged by anyone, you know? So I didn't have my parents, my mom and dad were right there the whole time. I'm so blessed. As you get older, you realize how blessed you are. You look back at your circumstances. And First time I was really wronged by anyone. So I just like didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
Personally, I had so much distaste for the situation, for the person. And I was walking around with I took a poison tab and fucking walking around with it.
Was your music affected? Were you creatively like
Yeah,
brought
I
down a
mean,
little?
let's put it this way. I was able to make good music. I was channeling it correctly for music, but the rest of my life suffered.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know?
it gave you good musical content.
But anything does. I'm happy as fuck, and I'm making the best music. It's not like some artists feel like, I know songwriters who wrote hit songs, and they're very, very depressed people, and they're just like,
Right.
The pain is the only way I can do this. Like when you talked about drugs earlier, a lot of times people, they sabotage themselves for the art.
They need to be numb.
For the art.
So I know, I think you commented or liked one of my photos. The social media world's like a whole nother podcast.
I know.
But someone that follows me saw that and they're like, oh my God, you know him? And then they went on to say like, I'm so sad like that he's like changing. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Changing to Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sad. Like, this is going to be his last thing. Is like,
yeah, we just framed it in a way where like kind of insinuated like we knew that it would create. That's kind of what the goal was. The final Mike Stud tour, like, you retiring? You done?
Yeah.
We gave no explanation because we knew what we talked about out there.
Yeah.
I haven't disclosed some of those details
of course.
publicly, but everyone knows, and all the listeners of this know that we're doing a deal and going for it, and it's under Mike. But for a while, most of my DMs were like, why are you quitting? Like, you're my favorite, artist or whatever it may be. And it was like hard for me to not tell him like,
dude, just wait.
Because we have like, dude, look at that board. They're all
I
songs,
see it.
So it's like, I have a whole other album that's done. I think it's my best stuff ever.
That's cool.
That's Mike stuff. So
okay. I like where you're at, because it's almost like the natural human growth and evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Like last night, I listened to the song "Batter Up."
Oh yeah,
and
that was me then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was catchy and it was fun, but now I listen to music and you're talking about looking at the stars with someone, and like just quality time seems more important than temporary satisfaction.
Oh yeah, and I go, and dude, I'm in an interesting part of my life because I'm towing the line, both sides of the line, if that makes any sense. Like, I have we got a ratchet side, like to what we do, like, I'm not a baseball player. There's way less regiment, right? We're right in the middle of, who's who in Hollywood, more or less.
You gotta live.
And there's, and like just the lifestyle this breeds, girls, and just, the availability and all that shit. So, and I personally, I'm blessed in the sense where I don't have a very addictive personality or addictive. I'm not really addicted to anything. I don't have that struggle, and I sympathize with people that do.
Do you drink coffee?
No, not really.
Well, yeah, that's
yours.
Probably.
Yeah,
I need it. It's like the experience,
right?
Like, honestly, sugar, coffee, even food now, they're drugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
when
Sugar's
someone's
the biggest drug.
Yeah, when somebody's hooked on tobacco or even way heavier stuff, I'm like, well, if they feel the same way I feel about caffeine, then I have sympathy and empathy and compassion.
I really do. I'm very, very close to addiction here. I just have friends very, very, very wrapped up in it, and I understand it.
Prior to me being a little more evolved, I'm not anywhere near where I want to be.
Right.
Like, I just want to frame that.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I'd be like, why would you do that?
Right.
But now, like, I understand way more just because I have more space to understand.
Right.
I don't have as much hate. I don't feel as wronged in the world because, dude, we all need a narrative, Some other things that I've been kind of delving into is feeling like you have to prove yourself. It fuels you to a certain point.
Athletes, yeah, you're right.
Then,
even in music, same thing.
Yeah, and then it becomes like kind of your biggest downfall Because if you're always trying to get external validation, like I talked about being valuable with the chains, if you're always trying to get external validation with your craft, with your job, you're never going to be satisfied. But if you go in and say, all right, these are my goals. If I accomplish these goals, it doesn't matter if I have a hit, if I win, loss. It doesn't matter if I win 20 games or win 5. I did what I set my intentions out to do. So, and it's way easy to say. And for the longest time, I felt like I wanted to prove to other people, like even, dude, I didn't even tell my biological mother this, but like proving to her
like,
that,
look what I became.
Right. But it wasn't like proof like I want to make you proud. It was it's proof like I did this even without you raising me.
Right.
Which I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I only did it because she did what she did. And I'm so thankful.
Right.
I don't think it was selfish. I think she made the right choice. Bro, if I was 19 and had a child and my parents said, hey, we're going to take this burden off you a little bit. Let us handle it.
Right.
I'd probably be like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I'm so fortunate I didn't have that situation.
Right.
But like I just started to think about it so much differently.
Yeah.
So anyways, like now I don't know what's gonna happen with the season, but now that I don't have anything to prove and I've created space for all possibilities, one thing we talk about is love encompasses everything. Love isn't just the good things. Right. Love encompasses all the bad things too. Like they're not separate. So the same thing with like success, like it encompasses the failure. Like like I'm not resistant to a negative outcome anymore. I know that everything's possible, which makes, I feel like in my workouts, in my training, in my throwing sessions now, I feel more free. In my life, in my engagements with other people, I feel more free.
Amazing.
You know, I'm not afraid to lose a friend, a family member, a baseball game.
Right.
I'm not afraid, which in turn, I think it's going to allow me to be even more successful.
Totally.
Because there's not that resistance. You know, when you pitch, bro, like if you tried to gas up, it's going to be slower. But if you just let that thing flow, it's going to it's going to have some extra life on it.
Exactly. Man, it's amazing to hear you on this path because it's like right where I feel like I went. You know, and it's one of those things where there was a quote that like really you're circling around the ideology of it. It's like open to everything, attached to nothing, and it's just like
that's Wayne.
When you're and you're not attached. When you're not attached to the results, you know what I mean. It just frees up so much more life to be lived. You know, like so many people are attached to the how. You know what I mean? Like even part of starting this podcast, so many fans were like, yo, I'm just trying to figure out, like, I have goals or I don't know how to get there. I don't know. And the key is to not worry about the how. Set your intentions every day to be the best. And, you can have your goals and your daily goals and your long goals, but you have to be open to life. Like, you have to be open to any possibility that comes in. Yeah. Even the hard, painful ones. When you feel like, oh, man, I was so set on being with that person or I was so set on living here and doing that. Like, bro, you have to understand, like, once you're able to let that go, there's just once the opportunities will flow. Like, as soon as I stopped worrying about the results in music even. Like, I put out music, I don't promote it, I don't give a fuck.
You just let it do
and and it lives and it goes. Like, some songs go bigger, some songs don't. But for me, the exercise of making music and putting it out, it's like, that's all the fun for me. You know what I mean? Like my point is, as soon as I stopped caring, amazing things started happening. Yeah. All the opportunities I was like, I wanted, or I would dream up, regarding music and the success, or even monetarily, like some of the opportunities that have come, all that came when I stopped worrying about how it would come.
So it's interesting. And this is one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately is, there's care and worry. Care comes from the heart. Yeah. And I feel like that's a good thing, to care. Yeah. Worry comes from up here. And that's when you can start to just like spin and create like this false future that causes fear and insecurity and feeling of inadequacy that we all have. So like I try to tell people, I was telling one of my friends at the gym the other day, I was like, we should use that imagination in a positive way,
Right.
as opposed to like this negative, like, pessimistic future. No, let's channel that good. That's you got a hell of an imagination to be thinking all that negative stuff that we think
Facts.
sometimes. If you can channel that in the other direction, you can be ultra creative.
What you're realizing, like it sounds like through some of your conversations. What's his name again?
Peter Crone.
Peter Crone. Like you're realizing that like there's so much. I feel like the biggest thing is that there's a perspective switch that happens, right? Everything, like it sounds like it went off for you. It's just like, it's all about how you look at it. And you're right. Most of our culture is programmed in a negative, pessimistic way.
Yeah.
Oh, I got work. Fuck, go to work. Oh, I fucking hate my job.
Well, like I get really negative and pessimistic when I see you shotgun a beer and you still have like 8 abs. That causes some,
Hey, man.
You know what I mean? But
Man, I get pessimistic when I look at you throwing 95.
Okay,
Bro,
true.
I in a drop of a dime, I went from like, man, I was pretty good. I don't know if I would have probably been a big leaguer. It's hard to say. Like there was still ways to go for me, just journey wise. But it was my dream since I was a fucking kid, right? Yeah. All of a sudden it was gone, never came back. After it popped, did all the rehab, super optimistic. Oh, I'm gonna be better, throwing harder. I thought I was supposed to be throwing high 90s, like I'm gonna be throwing harder.
Yeah.
And then it just went the other way, you know?
Did you pitch in a game at Duke after surgery?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A few times I was like throwing 85.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the same. The arm didn't work the same.
Yeah.
Like very tense, and like I had a flowy arm before. It just wasn't the same. So yeah, there was honestly there was a lot of there was bitterness there as well for me for a little while that was buried, and I was so lucky to have this other talent, that I was able to.
Well, and you were
manicured, and,
dude. How did you end up picking Duke, or how did Duke end up picking you? Like, how did that work?
So I was man. I was never a great student in the sense of like when you think of a student like, oh hi, I'm here to learn. I wasn't. I was a very good tester.
Okay.
So I got a very high score on my SAT. I was like a 2200 or something like that. Yeah. That's what really got me because I had A's and B's, average school. I was in inner city private school, but most of the kids there were funded privately, mainly black kids, mainly black and Hispanic kids at the school.
Okay.
So I was in the higher level classes and doing above average, but not, straight A's by any means. I was an A, B student. And then I just did really, really well on my tests.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I was always drawn to I kind of channeled it into my competitiveness. I channeled that competitiveness into my academics. For whatever reason, I felt like I remember feeling like I needed my academics to be very high level. I think mainly because I knew my family, we didn't have much money, like it would have been a huge burden to and baseball itself, you don't get tons of get tons of academic you don't get tons of athletic money in baseball. It's not like Duke basketball.
So you got an academic scholarship?
So that's what happened. I ended up getting I got the half baseball scholarship, half academic, and then a grant for being like
a stud. I mean, what?
Yeah. So like evened out. So I basically had like a full scholarship. But it's weird because I remember it wasn't like my parents like, really like programmed me like, yo, you gotta be straight A student. It wasn't like that. I just kind of like subconsciously knew that I needed that in order for this to work. Yeah. And I channeled the competitiveness. Like I would really like raise the bar on test day and like, you know what I mean? And I definitely have one of those memories where if I hear something, I can remember it. You know what I mean? Like
that's a special gift.
Yeah, like I definitely was gifted in the testing area, like being able to retain certain knowledge. That's for sure. But I was never the one very inclined to learn and be like, "What are you guys teaching today?" And I, looking back, I wish I was like that a little bit more. But I think that's one of the bigger problems about academia itself. Trying to force kids to learn shit that they're not ready to learn or not inclined to want to learn is like no longer really an actual way of retaining information and gaining knowledge. in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, we're learning, our kids are learning like such old, outdated.
But think about it, bro.
And the methods are old and outdated
and
too.
like, bro, you gotta, if right now, if you have any type of passion about anything, you can learn about it right now.
Exactly.
Your phone.
Exactly.
You can learn about anything. You can learn the ups and downs of it. You can learn in and out of something you're passionate about, right? Yeah. So it's just like, to me, I talk about it a bunch. People are probably sick of hearing about it, but to me, academics need to be. And I went to good schools, you know,
went to a great school.
But I think there's like there's a lot of changes that need to happen in order.
But see, just like food and a lot of even sports, like youth sports, education is a business, man. Like, do they really need to charge $50,000 a year to go to Duke?
It's a racket.
There's a high school out here that I play catch at and throw some bullpens and stuff. $50,000 a year.
Is it Notre Dame?
It's Harvard Westlake. I'm like, do y'all really? I mean,
it's crazy.
The stuff's nice and
it's crazy,
but do you really need?
It's crazy.
I mean, because
it is. You're right. It's big business.
Yeah. So whenever you're working under a huge conglomerate like that, there's control. We talked about that out there, which kind of leads into like another topic from a financial standpoint. We were discussing money a little bit earlier one-on-one, and people really judge athletes and entertainers who go broke. But if people really broke it down and thought about, and I didn't realize this till I started to get a little bit of money. Like, I didn't get paid until I was like in the big leagues.
Right.
I got a contract early on.
You were fourth, fifth round guy?
Yeah, 5th round draft pick. I got $160,000, and that was great, but that wasn't going to make me financially secure.
Right.
So in 2014, I got offered a contract early, before free agency and all that, and I took it, and I got my first check for $1 million. I got $1 million signing bonus. And the government at the time only took out, I think it was like 28 or 30%. So I got a check for like $700,000. I was like, yes,
I'm rich.
Let's go. Yeah. But my financial advisor said, hey, we're gonna take another $100,000 out because a year from now they're gonna come back and get
more,
their other 10% that they haven't taken out yet. And I was like, I don't get that, but thank you. I'm glad I have you.
You're right.
Otherwise, like, 700,000,
what happens, bro.
Yes, 700,000. You buy your parents a nice house. You buy yourself a vehicle. You're living out. You're going out, lifestyle.
Sushi.
You're eating out all the time, and you want to reward your family. And now you slowly get down, and by the end of the season, you got maybe a couple 100,000 left. But then the government still needs their 10% extra. 10% of $1 million is 100,000. So now you're like, you're running on E almost. Right. So I think just awareness, like let's not judge them so much and just understand that it's not as easy as it seems. $1 million can go.
Right. And depending on what your upbringing is and your family and how big your family is and your neighborhood.
You want to take care of your people.
Yeah, there's just more and more.
There's pressure.
There's more and more pressure that, and it varies.
There's more pressure for people who don't have the greatest circumstances growing up than the people who their parents have jobs where they make six figures and they can afford to go to expensive colleges and not have any debt. Like,
see, like the financial advisor thing, right? That should be a course.
Yeah, it should be.
Instead of
high school,
of having to fall into millions of dollars and then you're like, oh, I need a financial team.
Yeah.
Most people don't even, it's not even on their radar to have a financial advisor. At the end of the year, they go to fucking H&R Block and get their taxes done by some stranger and then they move on.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, can you imagine going into making your first $50,000 and knowing, hey man, this is how it's going to break down after 12 months of living.
Yeah, it's really like $25,000.
Yeah, and it's just like, even if that. And it's just like, these are the things that adjustments I think need to be made to the.
Yeah, because you can apply it to life as opposed to like, I mean, obviously you need basic math.
George Jefferson, fucking like
the history.
Who gives a fuck?
First of all,
who gives a fuck about George Jefferson? Seriously, I want to know. I want to know how the hell when I get out of this place, whoever George, you know what I mean? Whatever, any type of president, any type of history whatsoever, though. Like, and I did well in history because I had that kind of memory, like. But like, bro, none of it has any impacts going forward for anyone listening.
Yeah, and the history of the United States is so one-sided. I don't even know how much of it is true. Like, I mean, obviously, like Drake had the lyric a while back, but my high school mentor always says, like, history is just his story. And it's like, who wrote that?
Right.
Like, you know, like even
facts.
some different literature that's very important. And I'm not knocking it. And I might sound ignorant saying it, but there's the Bible and then there's the King James version of the Bible. Like, I'm just looking at the wordplay. I don't know how much King James had to do with the Bible, but it's the King James version. Like, so that just tells me that, like, it's his story. And I've started to dabble in, like, the indigenous people of America's side of history.
Oh yeah,
it's very interesting. I've read like 30 pages of a book. I'm still working on it, but it's just interesting to hear something different. You know what I mean?
For sure. You're a reader.
I like to read. I've slowed down a lot because I've been looking inward so much. It's hard to like really sit down and read 30 and 40 pages if I'm looking inward so hard, because like after one page I gotta stop and be like, all right, how does this apply to me? Let me go live life and see like how the 4 agreements like resonate with me. How being impeccable with my speech, how does that resonate with me? You know, things like that. But yeah, like I've crushed some really, really good books, man. Like 5 Love Languages and some of the basic ones, but some deeper ones by Bruce Lipton has a really good one.
Bruce Lipton's dope.
Man.
I catch a lot of his content. I'm a big YouTube guy. When I ride the bike every day. Yeah. It's probably why I stay in decent shape. You know, that's like one thing I do. I have it right here so I don't have to go to the gym. Eliminate the steps. Yeah. And I have, if you go on my YouTube, you're like the curated channels to me, like you'd think I was like a fucking, like not a rapper.
Yeah, guru.
You know what I mean?
Bruce Lipton, man.
Yeah, he's dope.
Talking about epigenetics and the book Biology of Belief, like just blew my mind. So I love like science because it's so factual, but I also like stuff by Malcolm Gladwell, dude.
Like science fiction stuff you're talking about?
No, like Bruce Lipton talks about like science, like in it channel. But you've never heard of Malcolm Gladwell? Like he wrote Outliers and Blink.
Oh yeah,
and
I've read Outliers.
Yeah, so that's Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah. I was in a coffee shop in Venice. He walks in. I'm like,
fire.
Oh fuck. Like so being in LA, people talk shit all the time. But like for me, it's created this new level of awareness because like I don't want to sound weird, but like, and maybe people on this podcast don't know me, but the cities that I play baseball in, like I get recognized like frequently. I've never been asked if I was a homeless person in Tampa, Florida, or in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Like that's just what it is. But out here, I'm going under the radar. Like
it's the best.
I'm not like at the top. I'm not the top dog. Like
they just don't like people out here. Like they don't really even give a fuck.
They don't
about
care,
sports.
bro.
Like,
yeah,
and like to be honest, when it even if it's there's so many A-lists. Well, there's just all the celebrities live here, so it's just like
Jonah Hill just walking down the street.
Don't give
bro.
a fuck. You know what I mean? Unless like you're personally, it's your favorite. Though people might act weird or something. Yeah. Or like Post gets it pretty bad. You know,
he's huge.
Yeah, and he's so recognizable.
Oh yeah.
You know,
always tired, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't really like. When he walks in, no matter what he's wearing or what he's doing, you're like, who is that? You know, like what's going on?
So being in LA, I've seen different levels of people, and Malcolm Gladwell walks in, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, bro. I was with my homie, bro. Hey, Malcolm Gladwell's over there. He's like, what? Oh, and he like kind of bugging a little bit too. And like for the first time, I got that feeling that a baseball fan, like in my town that I'm playing in, like gets. So, and because before. Sometimes it'd be like, all right, in my mind, I'm always nice outwardly, but in my mind, I'm like, all right, turn it on. Like, you got to be Chris Archer, whatever. But now I have a greater appreciation because, like, writing, like what you guys do with writing and being able to put it out there is something I always admired. I told you that earlier because I don't have that skill. So, like, seeing Malcolm Gladwell, who, like, his books were, like, my college, because he writes in a very... it's very structured and like you're almost reading a textbook, but not really. But I learned a lot through him.
Right.
And like, I got that feeling.
Did you go up to him?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, at first,
Malcolm?
hey, listen, at first, like, I was like, shit, I'm going to go and act like I'm getting a coffee just so I can speak to him. Mm-hmm. But I stood right next to him. He's right here. And I couldn't, bro. Like, I couldn't. And then, like, I went back to my friend. I was like, dude, I didn't say nothing. Like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
So luckily he stayed and, like, sat on, like, a little patio on your way out. And I stopped by and just shook his hands, like, thank you for your work. Like, I really appreciate you. I hate to bother you. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn, this is what everyone says to me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But it's just like, being in LA is like, the word that that's really resonated with me is expansive. Mm-hmm. Like,
oh, for sure.
Your mind expands so much out here because, like, everyone wants to do or be something.
Right.
And it's inspiring.
It is.
And
it's an energy, man. It's an energy that it's, you know, and this has nothing, I'm from a small town, and this has nothing to do with anyone who lives in those towns, but they're not subject to the energy in the air that, like, everyone here is thinking about more,
right?
And how they're gonna get, and there's pressures. A lot of people be like, oh, fuck LA, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, everyone's trying to social climb, whatever, but, like, I think that says a little bit about them as well. Like,
that's fear.
You know,
it's fear.
It's fear, and, like, they, you know, deep down, everyone has. No matter what you have, there's always more next, and that's a fine line you walk, because you need to enjoy the now and enjoy the moments. But that aspiration for more is what drives you, and if you've kind of mailed it in on your life, and for lack of a better word, you know, you have your work schedule, you know, you do on the weekends, and you go to these same 2 bars if you go, and then 2 restaurants down the street, and, like, you know, and I come from a family like that, and there's no shade to it. It's what you're environmentally programmed, right, as your life. But once you get out, and you're like, whoa,
go back.
You know, like,
how often do you go back home?
I go back probably like 5 times a year.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, probably, and I find different reasons. A lot of times I travel to that side for some kind of work, and then I'll go up,
pop in,
you know. But I get anxiety probably 4 days in. I'm like, I gotta get back. You know what I mean? I gotta rock. And I'm like, in my family, I have the best family. You know, like, everyone feels that way, or a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm so happy when I'm with them. I just wish they could be out here. You know what I mean? And that's really one of my main goals. That's why I work so. I really don't ever stop working or thinking about what's next.
It's possible for you, man.
Yeah,
it's
you know,
possible.
I'm knocking on that door, and it's been a fucking long journey. You know, it's like
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
First, it was baseball though, so that was like since you were like
no, it's literally
6 years
since
old.
I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
This has been like, it's always been in the back of my head to be wealthy, so that, you know, I could enable my family to just live worry free, and they're not, and they're not worrying, you know what I mean? Like, we're a comfortable middle class family, like, fine, but, like, just understanding, like, my mom, they, like, without my baseball career, like, they were up to like 35, 40 years old before they even left Rhode Island.
Yeah, you see that.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, getting back to the LA.
You're from that little, like, you're from like
speck.
You look on the map and it's like this,
speck.
dude.
You drive through it in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. So it's just like, man, you know, I talk about this a lot on this, but it's about, like, anyone who's listening, who's in a small place and maybe feels like there's something in them saying there's more. You got to go.
Take that leap.
Yeah, you got to go. You just got to go, because the regret that you'll feel, it will ruin the rest of your life. And I don't mean that in a sense like you won't have a good life. It will always be buried underneath your experiences. Yeah. Whatever you're experiencing, you have your first kid, and then you get your promotion at your job, and we got a new house down the block, you know, and, like, it's just like there will always be an undertone of, like,
what if?
Yeah, what if? You know, at least you got to go try and know that you gave it a shot, you know, and you went and saw different things. And I get that for a lot of people, it's not as easy. It's not as accessible, right?
We're lucky, man.
You gotta,
we're lucky.
Like, you might be in a horseshit family situation, a horseshit economic situation. And my thing is this: I truly believe, like, if you open up yourself to manifestation and understanding that, like, when there's a will, there's a way. Like, you might not even, maybe you meet someone because your energy is so good working over at the coffee shop. Maybe you meet someone who's like, hey, you strike up a relationship with a customer who then wants to take you on a trip, or maybe hire you as an intern or whatever it may be. It's just like, if you keep your mind open to the possibilities and the opportunities that you want, even if they don't exist yet, you can manifest those with your actions and your behavior and how you feel in the moment. You know
Definitely.
what I mean?
Every great person, or every person who's accomplished great things in their life, they've taken that leap.
Yeah.
They've taken that leap of faith. Even with yourself, moving out here, was it 2015?
Do you know?
LA?
Yeah. Yeah, 2015.
I mean, like, you took that leap. You could have stayed comfortable and been okay, but you took that leap. I just listened to a podcast with Drake. He takes leaps with his music, like
all
doing dance hall stuff and rapping in a Jamaican accent, stuff like. He takes those leaps, which makes him one of the most popular entertainers on the planet. And even like with myself, like, I'm thinking, how can I take that leap? Okay, I'm gonna invest in myself as much as I possibly can, and I know I'm physically gifted, so I'm gonna take care of that, continue to take care of that. But mentally, I got to get stronger too. So I got to invest. Like, Peter Crone ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? And then you learn this stuff, and then applying it, that's not easy either.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, so you got to have some tough conversations. You have to...
Sacrificing your comfort for
Exactly.
growth.
So one of my favorite quotes, one that did not come from Peter, like, I'll say a quote that did not come from him. Comfort zones are beautiful, but nothing grows inside them. And the way the visual I have with that is like a snow globe. It's like the most beautiful thing. It's like Pleasantville in there.
Right.
But like, no one's going anywhere.
Right.
The trees can't grow any higher.
Right.
There's no expansion.
Right.
So you got to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
In order to grow, you have to get outside of your comfort zone.
Right. A lot of this ideology that we're talking about is a huge part of like my next phase of my career. Even just doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, no artist ever host a podcast and do it.
Take that
leap. And like, as we take a leap, and we're gonna, we're gonna have a more mainstream opportunity here. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen. So it's just like, even then, like, oh, you're gonna be done with the podcast? Like, people, and I'm like, nah. Like, people like, it's kind of, there's never been an artist that ever had a podcast or something like this where, to me, it's like, once you realize taking a leap is like, everyone has a different leap. Now, and I was thinking about this, like, when you were talking about that and what I said about being in small towns, like, look, everyone has their own leap.
Yeah.
It's not like,
to be moved to
go
LA.
to LA or go to fucking go after this pipe dream or whatever. It's
It
just
could
like,
just be go to the big city that's close to your hometown.
right. Or
That
even
could
just
be-
starting that fucking business that you got to take a risk on in your town or whatever it may be, becoming the local mayor or whatever it
Exactly.
is, like, it's your own version of that. It's just, man, I just want people to experience some of the beautiful things that I've experienced just through experience.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, experience is the only teacher for me. As much as I'm an educated guy, fuck, man, all the things that I've learned and retained and have impacted my life were through experience, man. And I just want people, small town or not, I want them to have that.
Have you always been this giving? Because like,
No.
that's a very giving mentality.
Yeah, no, I wasn't, and a lot of it came through some of the literature I read. I'm gonna put you on a book I've put every guest on, and you just have to read it. It's called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success.
Yeah, Deepak Chopra.
Yeah. Have you read it?
That was the first book I read when I left high school, because you don't have to read.
I love that.
You
So
don't
you're
have to
years
read.
ahead of me.
Nah, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Because if I read it now, it's gonna hit me differently.
You got it.
know?
It takes fucking 4 hours.
Yeah, it's quick.
3 hours to read. I still wake up like at least once a week. I've read a book 10, 15 times. I still flip to a random law, read it, start my day with it. And like, it's one of those things.
Big
where
Sean was shouting that out a couple years ago
he?
too.
Yeah, the law of giving is one of the laws, and I just realized I wasn't giving.
That was the first time I learned about karma.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that word existed. And like, that's one of them. Karma and dharma.
Just
and
so many things that I just like kind of was not applying to my life. And I was always a good person. I never like went out of my way to hurt people or anything like that. But just understanding that it's not about me and this little bubble in my head. It's just like, there's a cool analogy. You were talking about something earlier, and the Four Agreements is something I'm reading right now. I've already read it, but I'm kind of rereading it again. And they talk about don't take anything personally. And if you think about
That's so hard.
Yeah, if you think about taking things personally, it stems from selfishness. It's personal importance.
Right.
You doing this to me? Me? Like, you're supposed to love me. You know what I mean? Like, what about me? And it's just like, everyone here, we're sitting here talking and having a conversation 2 feet away from each other. You're seeing something totally different than I am.
Yeah.
All the things that you've experienced, even just your last few weeks of your life, right? And all the things I've experienced and everything I'm encountering right now in my head that you don't know about, and vice versa. We all are living our own personal like dreams and worlds. And me taking it personally that someone tries to insult me, even if it's as direct as Mike Stud, you fucking suck. I hate your music.
That's what I was going to say.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say.
It's still a reflection of what's going on in their mind.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
People hurt people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but it's hard when you
so hard.
It's right here.
Dude, I was reading it.
You fucking suck. You're no good. I'm like,
what do you mean I suck?
well, I'm in the league. Like, what? How do I suck? But it has nothing to do with me, bro.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It
doesn't. Bro, I was reading the book and then getting texts that were angering me and taking it personally as I was reading Don't Take It Personal.
Yeah.
And being like, yep. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is it. And then,
that was like the universe saying, here's your test.
Right.
You're reading it, but here's your test.
The 2 agreements later, 20 pages later, it's do your best. And they open up, that's the 4th agreement. Do your best, and your best is different every day, every moment, every second.
Right.
You might suck at not taking it personally right now, or tomorrow, or a week from now. And then but like if you're able to assess it and consciously do your best in those situations, it's like anything else. You take 100 swings off the tee every day, you're gonna start hitting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so if you create that repetition of at least thought, like I'm gonna do my best to not judge people, I'm gonna do my best to not take things personally, not assume all these things. And it's just, all this literature has been like a huge part of where I've become, who I've become as a person, And I read an article that you wrote, the Players Tribune one. Read it today just because I wanted to like see what was out. Obviously this is our first conversation. You think we've known each other for a long time. But,
but see, that's what following you as an artist and listening to what you're on now, and obviously knowing Marcus, but I feel like I do know you. I feel like I could just be super deep with you right away because I didn't have to like tread the water. I know you're reading. I know you're like working on enlightenment and growth.
And that's how I felt once I read that article, though. You were talking about The Alchemist, which is another book, amazing book. That was a life-changing book for me as well. And I, what I read about you, I wanted to bring up was how you read that book and then applied it. You automatically, like, you wrote, was it right when you put the book down, you're like, I need to get more involved in charity and giving back to kids?
It was just like, I was starting to think about my personal legend, what I wanted to leave behind. And I kind of let it evolve through conversation with my mentor and some other people. Like, what stimulated it is like a couple weeks after I read it, I got an award that was like $500 to the charity of my choice. I was like, damn, I like the Police Athletic League and I like Boys and Girls Club. I like the YMCA. And my mentor was like, why don't you just create the Archway Foundation? And like, let's go from like, we'll make it very broad and then we'll narrow it. So that's kind of how it started. But like, it was already in the air. Like you and Marcus talked about manifestation and you talked about it earlier today, but it was just out there. And then I got the award. And then it all kind of came together after that.
It's awesome. It actually, like reading the article today, I was like, we've talked about it a bunch. I need to like, as much as I'm in the works of creating a Keep Going track. So my whole thing, the next album's called Keep Going. I have it tatted on me. Like it's a branding thing that we've been doing for a while. Cause I decided on the album name like almost 2 years ago now. And I love the idea of, I found myself responding to all my fans, like a lot of DMs, just like,
keep going.
Yo, I'm in a rut. My girl left. I'm like, bro, I just found myself saying it so much. And I was like, this is, So
you respond to random DMs quite a bit.
This is my version of, I was just kind of getting to this. Like, you know, you doing it right out there in the field with the kids going and doing it. Like it inspired me, and I was like, I need to, like, I've milled over the idea of like going to the soup kitchen once a week and going, you know, we donate clothes all the time and that type of stuff. But I want to be there, like touching the people more. Yeah. So I was literally going to say, you inspired me. Like I'm going to start doing that weekly, because he already goes sometimes. I want to go. But with about a year ago, when I read the 7 Laws, and I got really like, I got captivated by it, and just understanding that like I need to restructure the way I approached every day. And so my initial response to that is giving is like answering at least 15, 20 messages a day, really listening to their story, not just like,
you get a shitload of
I
messages.
do. But I just valued it so much. I changed my perspective.
What about the negative ones? Do you respond?
Honestly, I do. I always respond, and I just be like, man, I'm sorry you feel that way, man. Sending you love. Like, that's usually how I do it. And usually they're like, I just wanted your attention. Like, that type of shit.
That tells you right there, don't take it personal.
Exactly. Helped me understand it more.
Yeah.
You know, and it was actually liberating too. So I do that. And then, bro, it's why this podcast exists. I knew I had amazing friends and network of people. And people would come here and be like, dude, I can't believe, like, this is not what I thought we were going to come play beer pong, fuck bitches. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And drink as much as we possibly can, you know? Like, I didn't think we were going to So it was one of those things where I was like, yeah, I'm reaching out and answering 10, 15 people a day. But what about, you know, 50,000 a month or 100,000 a month that I can give them access to these relationships, these conversations, and on a broader scale, like a lot of what people are asking me is like, hey, how'd you do it? What are you doing? You know, like, what are you reading? And this is my platform on a broad scale for the hundreds or thousands I can't reach DM wise.
Yeah.
You can listen to this and get a peek into what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. Man. And it was really the inspiration for this whole thing, and just kind of turned into much more, obviously. But like, that was really that was like one of my main breakthroughs. And that's my version. It was really in response to the law of giving.
Okay.
Like trying to give, you know, and give. And like one of the parts of that chapter is just like, you don't have to have money to give. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have anything.
Your time.
Like, dude. Even the homeless guy, like I'll walk by, I'll just be like, man, I hope he's okay. I hope that happens. Sending good energy to people and thoughts really is the same thing. I know it's not, and people be like, what do you mean? But like, it is. The energy and the thoughts, your heart, it does just as much for you to give that thought to them than it does for them. And maybe even it gives you more, you know? So it's just like, that's where I started to have like a lot of breakthroughs in my life, where it was just like not about me all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, dude,
there's really nothing better than giving.
Yeah. You gave, so back to your I know you said you didn't want to go into it too much, but your father, who you call your father, right? Is what's his name? Ron?
His name's Ron Archer. He's my step grandfather.
So no blood relation, but you took his last name.
Dude, yeah, and that's why I love having the last name Archer on the back of my jersey. Mm-hmm. It's like he made a choice. He was around our age. He started dating a woman who was already had a daughter, and then her daughter had a child. So like, think about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you start dating a chick right now, and she had a grandson that you inherited as your son.
They weren't married?
No, not at the time.
Wow.
They didn't get legally married until like a little bit after they adopted me. I'm not sure exactly when. Right. But yeah, dude, like I'm not that strong of a man. So like, yeah, people have like idols and people they really look up to. I want to be like Ron Archer. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the most really cool, selfless, like kind act. So getting him a new Camaro, that ain't nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it was cool because I've had the ability to do that for them for a while, but we're not a family that does things in excess. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, I could have done it 5 years ago, but their cars were 5 years, like not as old then.
Right. Just felt like the right time.
It felt like the perfect time. Mm-hmm. Like my mom's car was actually in the shop. We have my car that I drove in high school, but it's an 03, bro. That's an old ass car.
Right.
And my dad has a truck that's like a 07 or 08. Like, it's not the youngest
How
car
good
either.
did you feel?
And that's what I'm saying. Like the joy of giving, there's nothing that compares. Like just making people feel good there's nothing that compares. And like
Great.
I haven't felt it on that level because I've had a little resentment. Now I have more space and I feel it even more.
It's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
That's a huge takeaway. Honestly, it's a huge takeaway for everyone listening. I think everyone in this room, every human being has really, it's different versions, different scales, but everyone has that.
Yeah.
Everyone has that, and it's part of being a human, like enduring suffrage and suffering and pain at whatever capacity again. But it's just like if you're able to, like, this is the guy who's achieved his lifelong dream. I mean, your dream to play baseball your whole life. Yeah, you achieved that, and you're sitting here smiling ear to ear about about giving your, and it's really like one of those things that I'm trying to push the most. If you got nothing, even if you're listening, if you start giving even just your attention, your love to people around you or people that you care about, man, it can unlock so much for you in your life.
Yes,
and
sir.
bring you closer to your dreams too. Really it does. When your energy is that good and you feel that fulfilled, I mean, better things are going to happen in your life.
So the hardest thing for me, and I feel like it might resonate with other people, is like it's hard to look in the mirror, man. Like that's why the Michael Jackson song "Man in the Mirror" is like still to me one of the greatest songs of all time.
Yeah.
Like you got to start with that person right there, instead of casting judgment. And I didn't judge as much, but it was more like I could identify that hurt people, but didn't identify in myself that I was hurt and hurting other people.
Yeah.
So it's like read, listen to podcasts, and
that input, man. Change your input.
Exactly.
Change your input.
Yes.
I mean, think about it. It's anything. It's like anything else in the world. Whatever you feed it, you know what I mean? Like that's what's
gonna grow.
That's what grows.
Yeah.
You know. So it's just like if you're feeding yourself a bunch of horse shit on Instagram, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And look, there's time for it.
Yeah.
There's time for some video games.
Of course, whatever it may be.
There's times to be reckless.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Whatever it may be.
But put that same time and energy into a podcast or reading. Like if you play video games, this is what I try to tell kids when I go see them. Like, look, play your video games for 30 minutes to an hour, whatever time you're allotted, but also study. And this is just like for schoolwork.
Right.
But like if you're an adult, like read for 30 minutes. You can get like 10 solid pages in and let it digest.
It's interesting how culture has somehow told us that as soon as you become an adult, it's time to stop learning.
Yeah, I know. It's sad. And I just said it myself,
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's just like the program, like, oh, well, you get a job, maybe we'll get a promotion, like, no, bro, you can learn. Like, I'm learning right now way more than I used to learn when I was in school.
And you went to Duke, bro.
Yeah, and like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. Like, Duke probably doesn't want to hear that, you know, but like, fuck, man. Like,
well, my friends from UNC probably really hate me hearing me gas Duke up right now, but it's just facts, bro.
So you grew up in Raleigh.
Yeah, like small town right outside of Raleigh. So
what town? I might know it.
Clayton, North Carolina. It's like 40 minutes from Duke. And you just get on 40 and you hit Raleigh, you hit Chapel Hill, then you hit Durham. You hit Durham, then Chapel Hill.
What are your feelings about North Carolina? Are you just in love with it from growing up there, or you not really like to go back?
So I'm not like one of those people like people from Texas. Man, ain't nothing better than Texas. I tell you what. No, I'm not like that. I'm like my people.
Yeah,
that's all I care about.
Right.
Like you said, I want to get to the point where I can be like, yo,
you guys come.
Everybody, come on.
Yeah.
So like I go back and I don't care that I don't have like water as accessible, like as good of coffee, as good of food. Like I just want to be like there with them.
Right.
Because I have some younger people in my family that I'm like really opening my heart up to now. My biological mother has 2 other children from a different father. So they're my half siblings.
Right.
And I've always been a little reserved.
Closed off, yeah.
But I've really opened my heart, and like I sent my half sister, her name's Robin. I sent her a birthday gift. Like her birthday's January 7th, and this was the first time I texted her. I said, "Hey, what's your address? I need to send you something for your birthday." She's like, you're actually getting me a gift? Like it's a surprise because she knows how I am. Like I love her,
right?
But I never really displayed it. And now like I want to.
Sounds like you're in an amazing spot, man.
Dude, I feel so good.
I think you're going to have an amazing year.
Yeah.
I really do.
Regardless of like win-loss. And look, this is the other thing I want to talk about. People talk about the process a lot. Like focus
Trust
on
the process, baby.
Right. And I agree with that. But one thing that's been pointed out to me by Peter is it's who you become in the process. Like when you're in here, you're the most disciplined, you're the most dedicated, you're the most everything you can possibly be as a human, and that's who you are. So it's not even about the process. Like as much as who you become through the process.
Right.
When he told me that, I was like,
yeah.
damn.
Makes a lot of sense.
So then you really don't give a damn about the outcome. There's
Results.
no attachment at all.
Love it.
You're like, I'm disciplined. I woke up this morning. I like made my own breakfast. I went to the gym. Like I did this. Like that's me. Like I'm not lazy. I'm not like uninspired. Like there can be moments of that, but it's like I talked to him about it. It's like, well, you know, I don't make my bed every day, and he's like, that doesn't mean anything. Like because that's not what inspires you. Right. It's like who are you in the process of the things that inspire you? Like with a relationship, if you're like a good dude in your relationship, then that's what defines you. You know what I mean? Like if you're not the greatest dude, then you have some more evolving to do in that. But you're obviously inspired by that person. Otherwise you wouldn't be with them. Right. So like if you're like giving your all like to that situation, like that's who you are because you care about it. Just like with the chains, like there's some people who value jewels. Right. I don't. Right. I was trying to get value from other people. Right. But like if you wear chains and because you respect,
you love it. Yeah.
That's you, man. Like
it's art.
Exactly.
It's art. Yeah.
So like, you know, it's just I've really come to terms with like who do you become in the process? Right. Dude, you still dip?
I do a little bit. Yeah. My mom would
It's
probably be
college
mad.
days.
Yeah. I honestly, if I'd say probably over the last like since as a baseball player, I didn't really dip.
Oh, okay.
I dipped a little, you know, but like in the studio, so much idle time. Because one, you know, I'd say, you know, when we're in the studio, we're here 8 to 10 hours, you know, 6 to 8 at least. So if I'm really rocking like that and I'm in here with a producer, there's a whole period of time where I'm kind of just like, I'm here. You know, and I'm here, and I'm here because we're crafting the music, and like, because I'm not producing. You know, I'm doing the writing and vocals and shit. So there's time, like, and that's really where the habit came. That's probably my one. When I read about shit and they talk about addiction or habits,
like a vice.
Yeah, but it's like I don't, for whatever reason, I don't really. I
tried to explain that.
I don't view it as something I want to really stop right now. Is that weird?
No.
I don't do it a ton. I probably dip like once a day or twice a day. You know what I mean? But it's like one of those things where,
dude, it's a time filler.
It's like, yo, it's more about like the oral fixation of like, yo, I'm just here, like I'm chewing a piece of gum you can only do for so long. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those things.
That's what I tell people.
Smoke a lot too. That's where smoking really became like, I smoke a lot of weed. But it's like kind of a circumstantial thing. Like if I'm running around and doing shit, I'm not like, yo, I need a jet. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But if I'm sitting here, plus creatively, you know what I mean? Like for me, weed has been like I'm an advocate for weed because, you know, as I started smoking weed, there's probably tons of people, you know, like who kind of feel this way. When I first started smoking weed, I wasn't a functional smoker. Like I would smoke and like go to bed, you know what I mean? Or like, I don't want to be around a bunch of people and shit like that. And then now I'll smoke and go into a fucking meeting with a bunch of suits, you know what I mean? And I'm totally fine.
That's crazy. I couldn't even fathom that. I would be like everyone's looking at me, taking things personal. Everyone's looking at me like they know that I smoke. Like, what am I gonna do?
The evolution of my smoking experience has been pretty awesome for me to like view just, you know, like I've viewed myself and see where it's gone. Yeah. And it was like, not to say that it is necessary for my creativity, but there was just there was definitely an unlock that happened when it
enhances it.
And like, to be honest, I also drink a lot less when I'm because of smoking. Because of smoking, yeah. alcohol is horseshit.
Talk about poison.
Yeah, it's poison. I like drinking. Here's the thing, right? People always ask me, especially when I meet with like entrepreneurs, like they see my party side and they're like, how do you know, like, what's going on with that? Like, how do you navigate that? Like, because it could very clearly, it's one of those slippery slopes that could turn into terrible things.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just like, I value the turn up. I value the vibe that I catch myself in. I don't really even give a fuck about the alcohol at all.
Yeah.
And like people are like, what do you mean? You're Mike Stud. I've seen you drink like fucking like, you know, like people, I'm known as like a drinker in a lot of ways, but it's not about the alcohol for me. You know, it's about where I go. And like a lot of amazing things, especially songs, happen when you're on the wave, man. You know what I mean? And you catch the wave, and luckily I'm able to do it with like liquor and weed, and I don't, you know, dabble with like aggressive things, you know. But it can be a very slippery slope out here in Los Angeles. Fucking, there's drugs out here. There's drugs out here like you'd think it's a piece of gum.
Really?
If you're at a party, like, oh, you want some coke? Like everyone's like, oh, I got it, you got it. Like, and it's just like. Or even worse, you know, it's just so accessible, and also this culture breeds it.
It's the norm for
it breeds it. Yeah, it breeds it, and it's normal, and it's just like this weird fantasy island, I call it. It's just like different, you know what I mean? It's not normal life. But with all that being said, I think that's an amazing part about being here, because it crafts you, bro. If you're not thrown in the mix and you're not thrown in the matrix where like you have to make hard decisions, if you're never challenged by the decisions, chances are you're probably not escalating, or like you're not going to places that aren't in your comfort zone. If you're not constantly weekly feeling like being challenged with decisions, new decisions to make, you know what I mean? And for me, like, it shaped me more as a man being faced with those decisions often. Like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you know what I mean? You have to make those decisions, and I feel like it crafts you and molds you in a way. You know, I've felt that way, at least for me personally.
You're an impressive guy, man. Like,
thank you, bro. Likewise.
This is like legit our first combo, and like I want to be your friend now. Like,
we have to be.
I hope that you can like.
Do we just become best friends?
Yeah. I don't know. Marcus might get jealous. But nah, I hope that like you can like come to a game.
Oh, I will. I'd
love to like. Host you.
We got love in Pittsburgh, man. We go and tore our ass off over there, so we'll be back. Awesome. We'll be back for sure.
So are you like known? I know you might want to wrap up soon, but like, are you known?
We're chilling, bro. We can go for as long as we want. All right. These guys are like, oh fuck.
Are you known in your hometown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because is it like so small that?
I mean, yeah, bro. There really hasn't ever been like a true celebrity out of there, and I'm not an A-list celebrity by any means, even B-list. Yeah. But like, as far as current relevance, I'm pretty popular there for sure. Yeah, Pauly D.
Oh,
remember, Pauly D's from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Different part, but I knew kids like that. I knew he's older than I am. Yeah. But like I knew of people like that wasn't an act. Like that's how he was. Motherfucker was like gym tan laundry, baby.
That's hilarious.
But I knew those dudes. Like it's funny when at the end of their thing, I was starting, and like I would go to these club appearances. They pay me like $1,000 to come and like sing a song and be like, yo, we're getting paid to go to the party. We're gonna go club anyway. Go to the club anyway. Like we're getting paid. Yeah. So we go and then we run it. I became close with Ronnie and those guys. They're good kids. They're good dudes. They were in it. Yeah. They were in the middle of that shit for a while.
I mean, like it's hard because they were exposed to something that not many people get exposed to.
Yeah. I mean, they were close to A-list famous for
they
about
were
5 years.
Too. Yeah.
You know, like very, very famous.
They were like on the Kardashian level because
it was, man. It really was. It was
their
a
life
big
was being
fucking
documented.
thing. It was a big thing, and they were good. They were good kids. Like they were good dudes. You know,
That's cool.
Just, you know, obviously it's pretty. It's one of those things where Ronnie was the one I knew the most, but Pauly.
That's the Jack one, right?
Yeah. And like they do things that are regrettable and shit like that, but like at least those dudes were being authentic.
They were,
you know what
real.
I mean? Like that's why it was so infectious.
Exactly.
People were like, people were surprised from other parts of the country. I think people were like, wait, I didn't know people like this existed. Yeah. And then you see how authentic it is. It just shines through. You know what I mean? It shines right through the fucking, even if it's horseshit MTV produced stuff, like overproduced. You know, that's what they do. We had a TV show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we did thank God we did it the right way, because like I kind of similarly to my music career, I held out. We didn't do it with MTV or VH1 or even E. We did it with the Esquire network, only because they allowed us to, like, we kind of creatively directed it, and we from the jump going into it, like, we're not doing no fake shit. Like, you're not going to produce any of the environments whatsoever. They'll happen, and there was a direction. You'd like it. It's a few years old now, right? Yeah, it's on iTunes, but you'd still see, and that was like right when I began my relationship. That we were kind of referencing earlier, but it was a different time in my life. It's the really funny part about this is that we're talking about Jersey Shore. When we first shot the pilot, and we ended up like bagging it, but the first pilot was like Jersey Shore on steroids. Like, I was single, flying high.
You're wilding.
We were wilding, and then,
like your music, like you were showing, like this ain't fake.
Like my show was like, talk about authentic. Like, it was exactly that. It was just like, but it was so risque and like, if who I am now, if we had done that, like, we might have been very famous for a few years, but it wouldn't have been the right fame.
Right.
And it would have been embarrassing. You know what I mean? I don't think there ever would have been like a real music career that was able to be built out of it either. It would have been, oh, that's that wild white college rapper fucked everyone. You know, like, that was really what it was going to be. And like, thank God we pulled the plug on it, and then ended up getting the smaller deal with the Esquire network, which was like a small sister network to E.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would like it. Check it out.
Yeah,
it'll just give you an insight into like where we came from.
When was the last time you played catch?
Been a while. We should play though.
Yeah.
My arm feels strong again, but too tight. Your body's too tight. My body, yeah. Like, I get my workouts in, right? But like, I'm actually going to a chiropractor. Like, I've been going for about 4 months now. Like, I feel like if I really were to try to compete, my back, like, I'd have to really work on like making it all synchronized, my body again. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, I sit around in front of the computer, make music right here. I'm seated most of the time. I wake up. I hate stretching. So like, I wake up. I'll do the bike.
Hate stretching. Oh my God.
I'll do the bike. You know, which over time like will just make you tighter if you're not like, I'm not stretching and doing cool downs and the right things. Like, I know that. You know. So I actually have to make an adjustment in my life just because I want to be like limber enough to be, you know,
do it for a minute.
Do whatever. You know, do whatever the hell I want with my body. Not compete at a high professional level by any means, but I would like, my arm strength feels like it's back to where it was kind of.
Okay.
I'd probably have to like grow it, you know what I mean, and throw for a while, get on a program, but it's funny, man. I never thought I would say these words, but I am so happy I'm not a baseball player.
Yeah.
At least me personally, you know, like who I was as a baseball player, not to say you're doing it, like you're finding that personal growth and finding that way. But like, for me, who I was as a baseball player, like, it was such a small-minded version.
Well,
of
you
me.
were young too.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
There's a big difference in the 22-year-old stud and
for sure.
Know, the 31-year-old Mike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Two totally different things. Yeah. For sure. Do you how do you view like so going through this progression that you're going through in evolution as a person and a man? Where does your not love for the game, has the way you viewed the game and the importance you put on the game changed at all? And it doesn't have to be like, oh yeah, I don't care about wins and losses anymore, whatever. Like, just more so like, what has it done to your, I'm always interested how athletes are viewing the importance of the game that they're playing. And I get that through your athletics, there's such a huge platform there and so much opportunity for more and for good using your platform and playing the game that you love, you know?
Well, I think I have more gratitude for the blessing. Cause you know, like I wasn't born throwing 95, but I was born with the ability to get there. Right. I was born with the potential. Right. So I definitely have more gratitude. I see it as an ability to express art because it's movement, man. Right, it's like, you know, being pinpoint and like making something appear to be here and then it goes here.
It's definitely
art. And then also to inspire. I know that athletics inspires people.
Something very inspiring about athletics.
Yeah. Well, it's like it gives people hope. You know, they're like, wow, like he just ran like that kickoff back 99 yards. Like I can do something with my life too. And also like to like make my parents proud.
Right.
You know, it's like there's layers.
Right.
The game itself, it's like I have a team and I'm representing a city. I'm representing myself, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Right.
But I think it's just more gratitude, which is gonna make me a better teammate.
Right.
You know, because like I'm blessed to like
make you a better player.
Exactly.
It is.
And as a pitcher, you can be a little more selfish because it's such an individual battle with the batter.
Right.
So I know if I lift myself up, then the other avenues of my life are going to be lifted in turn. And being like a solo artist like yourself, independent, it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's kind of like all those things mixed with just teammate camaraderie, competitiveness.
Do you meditate?
I've never like truly meditated before. You might need to walk me through that.
I just want to float that out in front of you that you should.
Okay.
I've been doing. I asked Marcus.
Okay.
I put him on, and it's been a slow. It's very similar to how I got into it. For a while, I was kind of drawn to it, and I'd come across people I was really, really loving what they were talking about, and they were they were championing meditation, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, red flag. Okay, like man, I need to
kept
start.
Popping up.
It kept coming up, and it just kind of forced its way into my life. But it's to this day, I'm here telling every single person to go do it, and still I have days where it's hard for me to sit down, shut down, and do it.
Yeah.
So like,
How long? Like
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah, man.
It's like stillness, no thoughts.
Stillness. Yeah. So it's to me, it's the idea. It's the practice of eliminating thoughts, and it's not one of those things where you get rattled or you try to scurry the thoughts away. You view the thoughts as they come in, you see what they are, and you come back to center and let them pass. And over time, you get better at it to the point where like
there's a lot less thoughts.
10 minutes will go by and I won't have a thought, and I feel light as
but you're awake. See,
feel
that's
light
what's
as a
crazy.
feather, bro.
That's what's crazy
Yeah.
is like that happens like, and then most people just like fall asleep.
Yeah, but it's like I don't. You actually don't do it. You don't do it before bed. And I know that sounds kind of weird. You actually do it when you wake up, when you're most rested.
Okay.
And in the middle of the day, like you're essentially supposed to do it twice a day for 20 minutes.
Okay.
So I only do it once a day because it's hard for me to like if I'm in the flow of something, be like, oh, I'm gonna go meditate, but really I should because I feel, man, if you can
like get your whole team to pause.
If you can get there, fuck, man, it's like
Is it euphoric?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, bro, some of the ideas and things and business stuff that I've done, I just like a lot of cool stuff that's happened since I've started meditating, and I don't know. There's no way of saying for sure, but it feels I know in my heart of hearts that the meditation has helped me get to those creative avenues.
Right.
I've made better music, I've made better relationships, and I've made better business decisions with things that I've been talking and dreaming about for a while, like investments and acquiring companies and little things that, like, I don't know. It's just it all feels like it coincides to like the idea of like getting really control of your mind.
Yeah.
And I've been putting Marcus on it for years. Not meditate, even just some of the content I've been talking about.
Yeah, he sent me some Wayne Dyer clips, and I was like, all right.
Yeah. So he, again, it's just one of those things where for me it's been such an eye-opening year, and it's like a lot of the growth that you see, it's all just been from this changing my input. And that's really where are we at on time, Kilmer? Hour 40. Ooh, we're flying, baby. Yeah, let's take a pee break and then we'll do like another 15 minutes.
That's cool.
We'll be right back with You Never Know, You Know What I Mean, right after this urination break.
First for the Athletics, he bats leadoff and he plays short because he's the coach's kid, but really he sucks.
Are you 24/7, 365 watching what you eat now?
I'll give myself, in the off season it's way easier to control what you eat. In season is tough.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you might not think that as a consumer or as just like a fan of baseball. Like you'd think you guys were catered to, and
well, we are, but sometimes it's still out of your control.
Right.
Like the chef that I have now, like I tell him, it's this.
Right.
This nothing else. We have a great chef in Pittsburgh for our team, but sometimes, you know, he wants to be adventurous. He wants to make us feel good through food, good or bad games. So like he makes fun stuff and it's tasty, but then we're on the road for 81 games. So then we're eating out, we're eating at hotels. In the off season, I try to be very, very like, I don't even want to call it strict because I enjoy the eating. Like strict is like a negative, there's a negative connotation. Like,
Do you like eating healthy?
I love eating healthy. It makes me feel like I
Me
eat
too,
it,
man.
and it's like I feel it going in.
Me too.
And like I sleep better.
What's your
train
favorite
better.
stuff? Like, what's your go-to meals? Fish? Steak?
Yeah, I like fish. I do red meat once a week, just because I think there's some really good things about it. But I know that it's
I've wound off red meat as
Yeah.
well, but I need it like once a week.
yeah, it's harder for your body to process
Yeah.
it. That's a fact.
Yeah.
it's just tougher to break down.
Inflammation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to, kale, quinoa. The biggest thing for me this off season, after like 4 or 5 p.m., like I don't eat carbs, and I've seen like a lot less like extra, like excess weight. And I've never been overweight.
You've always been kind of
Trust
more
me,
on the
I've been
slender
skinny
side. Yeah.
like my whole life.
Right.
But I'm like the same weight with like just the, I'm almost on my mic stud. I got like 4. I got like 4.
12-ounce curls or however 12-ounce curls and yeah, man. For whatever reason, I never like gained weight over my abs. So when I do gain weight, even
It's somewhere else.
yeah, like I'll get it like upper back, like stuff like that.
That's a good place to.
Yeah,
That's a
lucky.
good place.
I'll get it on the sides, but like I could still kind of cheat it and look like I'm like super ripped,
Yeah.
even if I'm not. Type thing.
And that's the thing, man. Like I'm subject to this, but like you see on Instagram like these dudes all chiseled, and it's like that's not reality, man. Or for chicks especially, like it's got to be so hard
you don't
for
even
women.
gotta fucking know. Dog.
Yeah.
Like, are you aware of this Facetune thing?
Yeah, it's like a whole different face, man. Like,
bro, to me, I've completely given
you can't meet somebody online.
I'm not gonna say I'm not swimming in the Instagram waters, because I am, but I'm not like the way I've seen it so up close with these LA, especially like there's girl any given night here, like 100 million worth of followers amongst like 10 girls.
Yeah,
I don't even know who they are or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like and this isn't to throw shade at anyone, but there's such a facade. It's such a facade going on. Like
social media
it's
is one
literally
big
changing
facade.
their face. Like they're
Yeah.
fucking changing their face and changing their body and you know what? It's sad. It's like, you know what I mean? Like it kind of devalues the whole thing. And also like I know how sad it probably makes them deep down.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you accrue a big following. And you're making money and you're like, oh, everyone's like, oh man, she's hot. Like the overall millions of people like think that you're the most beautiful thing. But like if you know you're lying, it makes you sad.
Yeah.
Makes you sad when you go to bed. A lot of these Instagram girls are super famous. They're sad.
Yeah, and that's the ones that see Instagram's tricky, and being an entertainer and athlete is tricky because like you want the validation and you get it and you're like yes, but then like when you get negative like feedback,
It stings.
this is me personally. I can't speak for everybody, but like it's almost like an equal. Like I get up, and then like people are like, "You terrible, you suck."
18,000 positive comments, 4 bad comments,
and
evens out.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's why like I'm so much happier now because when I read it, just like we talked about. So, anyways, my point is like those girls they seek so much validation, and that's
bad.
fake. It's not real.
It's bad, yeah. It's a bad cycle to be caught in. It's crazy. This is we talked about LA. It's a crazy place. It's the same way I said it can mold you in the other way as well. Like being put in the matrix of tough decisions and choosing what you value out here is tough.
Yeah.
But it can mold you the wrong way as well.
Right.
And I see that. I see that a lot.
Yeah, and dude, we talked about it earlier, but it's a choice.
Yeah.
You know, like I live in Brentwood and I go to Erewhon and I go to my gym and train and I go to sleep.
Right.
Like, because that's what's important to me right now.
Because you could go out and you can go out and just fuck around.
Yeah.
You got fuck around capabilities in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
Like,
it's like, it's not fulfilling at all.
right. And that's an amazing realization to actually have. You
But
know?
look, dude, I had to go through it 1st. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
But like 5-6 years ago, we would be having a totally different conversation.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was still like
sure,
aware
me too.
and conscious, not to the same level, not to the same degree. But dude, I was like, we would have some great side conversations about some stuff. Like it was different.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, like I
Younger.
was seeking validation through how
This
many.
is what you do when you're young, rich, and famous.
Yeah,
you know?
pretty
Like,
much.
This is what you do.
Pretty much.
This is all the shit I heard about. It's
Yeah.
time for me to do it.
And
you know?
I can't wait to hear like your new album because I just feel like with who you are,
think you're gonna love
even though a lot of stuff you wrote a while ago, like I feel with who I know, who's sitting in front of me, it's gonna be like inspiring and uplifting and
Yeah, it's like, to me, this is like the most, even just sonically, the way it sounds.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels like me right now so much.
So tell me this: is his name Vori?
Yeah,
Do you have him on any of?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Voice Fire.
You two collabing?
a
Like you
vibe.
have like 3 or 4 songs on For the Homies? Every one of them, like those are on repeat, dude. Like I run them back every
Fire,
time
yeah.
because
Vori-
it's just like
Vori's,
ain't no love, it's just hate in the city. You know, like I'm bouncing, boy,
Yeah.
and I'm driving to spring training camp. I'm like, ain't no love, ain't no love.
That's the vision, bro.
Right.
That was the vision when I, for-
Gucci, Prada, even Saint Laurent. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I feel
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
that. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, I feel you.
It
I
feels
feel you.
good,
It's like the vision for me when I make music. It's always been an undertone of making music. It's just like, because I come from an athlete background, like just being able to be a voice to athletes still, and like that they can connect
Dude,
with.
your early music, it was like, yeah, this dude used to play baseball.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it's very obvious.
This guy,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But for me, I'm
Right.
like, all right,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like I get every analogy, every pun, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
right there.
You're like
with
Marcus. Marcus likes that shit
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
This is like a happy medium of like I told you, you referenced it, but like there's a slight country influence in the sonics of it. But I'm just saying like real shit. Everything I'm saying is just the realest shit to me.
So you, like, what do you? I don't mean to like flip this
Yeah, no,
podcast
it's
on
all
you,
good.
but like, what do you aspire to be? Do you aspire to be like J. Cole?
Yeah, nah.
Like-
nah.
Because he's like straight lyrics.
Yeah.
The beats aren't always fire.
So as a just music fan and what I've grown to listen to right now, lyrical rap, like very lyrical rap with no melody, is not enjoyable to my ears anymore.
Yeah.
And let me be clear.
Like a
that's
Nas.
why I started rapping. Like
Yeah.
I was inspired by like, you know, a little more like when I started, I was inspired on the less serious side of it, but like lyrical puns.
Yeah.
And like not heavy like, yo, like J. Cole storytelling. He's one of the best.
Man, he can paint a picture
He's one of
like
the best.
no other,
Yeah.
boy.
I have huge respect for him, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not
North Carolina, you know, we got we gotta show love.
And like as a man, I feel like he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know him, but that's just how I feel. But like I was inspired by early Wayne, where Wayne's very smart. Wayne's
Hey,
very
He
smart.
used to come with them puns.
Yeah,
boy,
and like
heavy.
you know that style came and went, and even the lyrical rap, it's not really in anymore. But like
Yeah.
for me personally, as a listener, I need melody, you know, and like just as much as you connect to the lyrics, the vibration, the music, the energy, man, is so
feel you.
important. And I fell in love with country music at Duke. That was my first experience, just being in North Carolina, going to the ballpark. playing-
Who?
I mean, back then
She
it was
thinks
older.
my tractor sexy.
Yeah, not really that, not that stuff, but like not even like particular music, just ballpark country music, night in and night out. That's what we listened to. A lot of my teammates from Texas.
Cotton Eye Joe and shit like that.
Yeah, kind of, but like even just like our BP mix was like 90% country.
Yeah, yeah,
and
of
like you know, like I just fell in love with that ambiance, but was always a hip hop head, always.
Yeah.
You know, and to be now, you know, what I'm aspiring to be as a musician, I swear to God, bro, I'm truly trying to make something that doesn't exist.
That's cool.
Really.
That's
seriously, like I'll take inspiration. I take inspiration from Post. I think Drake's one of the greatest artists of all time as far as being able to, I mean, he's extremely, extremely smart and lyrical and able to paint pictures, but also he's probably the best at diversifying his sound. That's something that like I've always done, even as Mike Stud. Real fans would be like, "Oh man, you were doing country shit 3 years ago, bro." I did a Sam Hunt remix 3 years ago. It was a popular remix for me.
Okay.
I have a few songs in my top 10 on Spotify. There's one called "Fly to the Moon." It's very country music sonically. I've just over time going in as a rapper and then evolving to where I am now, I put in 10,000 hours of music time, you know? And now I really feel like I understand.
Way more than 10,000 hours.
Yeah, more.
Like,
I understand. I understand like songwriting, and I really do see the art in it. Where before it was just like, what do you say? What did run that punchline back? Like I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like even just like the idea of like melody and song and how you build hit songs and structures, and like I've also become very like impacted by that, and it's a part of my next sound for sure. But I brought my background into it. It's there's a lot of, I'm still rapping, you know what I mean? I'm still rapping in a lot of it, but I'm always saying shit. Like I'm saying shit that a rapper would say with melody, if that makes any sense.
No, I like that. And the one way that I would like to compare you and Drake is you can understand what y'all are saying.
Yeah.
Like if I turn that on, if I turn Drake on for my mom, she likes it because like she can hear what he's saying. Some people that mumble or have more of a distorted or even auto-tune.
Right.
My mom, like, and that's what like, you know, you're trying to hit all demographics.
Yeah.
If like 70-year-old woman can get it and I get it,
right,
and everyone in between, like you hitting on something.
That's where
that's what I like about you, man.
Yeah.
And we're the same age. Like we've been through a lot of
similar, you know, athletic background.
Yeah, and just like the ascension has been the same.
Yeah.
So like I feel a lot of the stuff.
You're gonna love. I'll send you some stuff. I'll send you some stuff early.
Please.
I'll send you some stuff
That'd
early.
That'd be nice.
We're close, man. I'm like probably a few songs away, honestly, from being done with this Mike album.
Cool.
Just about like most of the ideas are probably 80% developed. So it's just pushing them over the line. Probably a few more songs, then we're ready to rock.
So like, what was this most recent one? Ready?
Yeah, so that was just, these were, they're not on the board anymore, but they were part of this effort of, I probably made like 50 to 70 ideas and song starts. That's what you, like, I come in and start ideas all the time, and then there's ones that just I'm drawn to create further and push along and advance. And it's really made my creative process a lot more fun. Because I'm not like, oh, I'm going to write this whole song right now and here, you know what I mean? Now I just like come in, start ideas, and then sometimes I'm working on 4 or 5 songs at once. You know, I'll jump in out of that session, go into another one, you know, and it makes it a little less stressful. And I think when you're stressed and making music, it's never going to sound right. So that You Ready shit, I was just like, Mike Stud was ending. I'm not going to put any Mike Stud in 2020. And it was like December 1. And I'm like, wait, these songs I like a lot, right? And I think they tell a story. It's kind of has a heavier, sad undertone if you look at it as a 6-song project, which it wasn't. I kind of put it together. But what I'm saying is like, it tells, this is the first music release since like the breakup and going through that. So I feel like it's a great segue into like when you first fall out of love and you go through that hardship, there's a darkness. We've talked about it, you know, here. And then the Keep Going, the album, the Mike album is the rebirth.
Okay.
It's the rebirth. Like I feel like I've changed as a person, and the music and just the sonics of the music, it's more upbeat and you know what I mean? It's a less heavy feeling. So
the first song is White Flag.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of
waving the white flag. It's just like we're done, you know, like and but it was just like one of those things where I was like, I got to put an end to the Mike Stud era. It was something musically. Because I had put out a song like 5-6 months ago in 2019. But like for me to just end the whole career with nothing musically. So it was like a scramble to get it out. I talked about it last episode, but I got it out. 2019 like 2 days before the new year. So just because I want 2020 to be the year Mike happens
Fresh.
and we're changed and fresh.
So when you go on tour, are you still gonna?
Yeah, like the classics.
Yeah.
You know, I got like probably 5. I'd say like 5 to 6 songs probably will carry
I
over.
remember all that shit. That's what I'm sitting there thinking. Like, how the hell do these people remember all this stuff,
Yeah,
man?
I don't know. It's you hear it so much when you make it, you know, and it's like ingrained in you. And then I mean, not to be. I've definitely fucked up lyrics on tour.
Oh, have you?
You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
no one even cares or notices. Especially my like. You gotta come to a show. You'll see.
I know.
We got
I had
great fans.
I had the opportunity last spring.
I think I tried to get you over in Tampa, right?
Yeah, but like,
Yeah, it's all good.
sometimes I get so regimented.
It happens when it happens, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll happen this year.
Yeah.
And that's, there's going to be I think it's going to be a level up year. Be fun. So
Have you thrown out the first pitch of the game?
yep. Only the Padres, and I have no affiliation though. I'm not sure what inclined them to do
We
it.
might-
but I
we
think we
might
should
need to
start. Well, yeah, like I'd like to do it
If you have
as
a
Mike.
heavy following
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh,
Yeah, we do.
Dude.
We've always had a great little fan base there.
that's like, hey, my guy
Yeah.
needs to throw the first pitch,
Yeah.
and it's done.
I
Like,
want to even going on podcasts that are bigger and stuff. I've been holding off because I don't want to transcend Mike Stud any further. You get what I mean? Like
got
Mike
you.
will be where we're ready to run it up and do whatever. But that'd be amazing. I'd
dude,
love to come through. Be an
it's-
excuse to come hang out and catch the game too.
for sure. But like, it's so crazy because I feel so connected to you because I feel like the last year and a half has been like so much newness and change for me. Like I'm with a new team, but also like just in my life, like the things that I've been
Personal life,
talking
yeah.
about, I feel very connected to you, man. Like,
Let's keep rocking, baby.
Yeah, dude.
Let's keep going. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. No brainer. And
but I do want to see like I want to see a Mike party.
I'm still bringing it.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
okay.
Nothing's changed. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? I'm still bringing that for sure. You
all
know,
right.
it's not. There's no like real departure from that.
All
It's
right.
really more just a rebrand. Like Mike Stud, in my opinion, for a long time, like I've known I wouldn't end as Mike Stud. I wasn't sure what.
Yeah.
And then I can't say the name, but like the people I'm fucking with. It kind of just made sense. We're like, dude, you're the biggest Mike I ever met. You're just Mike, and there's never been a Mike, And we kind of looked into it and the possibilities of it, like even SEO search, like having a name like Mike. But there's artists like Russ.
Yeah.
Russ isn't even a mainstream artist. Guy crushes arenas. I mean, he
Right.
kind of is mainstream, but kind of not. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, dude's crushing arena shows and been able to, 10, 20 plaques, whatever. So he's been able to do that with a name like Russ. There's
Yeah.
artists like Kyle, obviously Drake, but like, there really has never been a Mike.
You are a Mike.
I'm a
You're
Mike,
like
man.
the alpha Mike, but you're a Mike for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I'm just so sick of like talking to the old lady on the like out in the street, just like, oh, like we get into conversation, and because I like talking to like I like talking
Everybody.
and there was a awakening I had one time where I was like, I literally caught myself not wanting to say my name to the lady,
Yeah.
and like there's nothing wrong with it, but it was just like.
Cause she might want the dick or like.
No, I think.
Oh, okay.
She I like. That would be awesome. She like
Experience.
thinking.
Man.
No, she was older and thinking like.
Experience, bro.
Yeah,
She's evolved, man. She could teach you some things.
She could.
Bro. Like-
She could. Honestly, man, I need to dabble with some older women. I need to dabble with any older women listening. My DMs are fucking wide open.
Yeah.
Because I'm surrounded by very young girls. You just like the entertainment models and.
Yeah.
The shit in LA, like there's a new shipment of 18-year-old, 21-year-old rock star models coming in for shoots we just always get linked up that way. And I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But even with my new growth, in some ways I see things like as far as relationships go, I'm gonna need somebody who can like, bring a little
it
more to
down.
the table. Yeah.
Dude, like that's what I learned. Like it's just not fulfilling.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, man, I hope my mom's not listening. Please,
She's
Mom.
turned it off by now, probably.
Yeah. But like it's like
Yeah.
how many times can you like accomplish that?
Yeah.
It's the same shit. But when you have a connection with somebody, it's so different.
It is.
Like it goes from like having sex or fucking to making love.
Right.
And there's such a big
There are
difference.
different things.
Like, there's a difference in, damn, mom.
Just let it fly.
Okay. This is my
You're a
mentor.
grown ass man.
Yeah. My mentor, like, put me on this, but it's like, you have sex, kind of casual, you're not really all in, then you fucking and you like, like you showing them what's up.
Yeah.
And then there's a making love component that like you just free, you can be yourself, and like when you are cool with you and secure and like your sex game goes through the roof.
For sure. And
Yeah.
just like I saw this thing, I forget what I was watching, but they were talking about like, think about what sex is, right? It's like you getting naked with somebody and then like you're literally exchanging energy.
Yeah.
Like you're
connected.
sorry mom, you're going inside someone else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like that idea,
The unity, bro.
no, that idea though, like there's a huge exchange of energy that, like if you're having sex with someone who's a toxic relationship, or there's some type of, or like the relationship is just like this guy comes over and fucks you and leaves, and like there's no, and you start to feel that exchange of energy, you start feeling empty, like they're taking from you.
Because what happens every time you have a fuck buddy?
Yeah.
Somebody gets in
Someone
their
gets
feelings,
feelings,
bro.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is so right, and I honestly never thought about it.
Yeah, it's not I came across that content and I was like, oh shit, I never, same reaction. I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, never thought about that. Because like there's just like those girls you have connections with, you're calling it making love.
Yeah.
There's no matter what, could be the exact same sex.
Yep.
But if that exchange of energy has more, like if it's, if there's like real feelings on both sides, that sex feels better.
Yeah, it's
You
more
know what I mean?
impactful. It's more feeling.
Yeah, and-
Even if you can't quite satisfy that girl, she's still satisfied.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, you're just automatically better.
I mean,
Like,
look, that's the goal. Like,
Yeah.
I want to every time.
Yeah.
I might come up short. Like, hey, look, that's just life, bro.
Hey,
Like,
man,
that's
it
just
happens.
life.
So you get the win, you get the loss sometimes.
Sometimes, bro, but it's
Still
the
gonna go
process.
out there next
Trust
week.
the process, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was I in that process? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that. But seriously, like,
Yeah.
you're always satisfied,
Yeah.
regardless of
I feel
like,
you. I feel you. That's that
whatever
connection.
happens.
And like, man, to be honest, I don't know what the hell it's gonna take for like I'm not even saying I'm emotionally unavailable, but like I'm so I've created this new routine for myself and like my self-worth. I put so much importance on like my self-care and the thing I was telling you, like waking up, meditating, getting some content in, like the woman Drake put it really well in his interview. Did you watch? You
Yeah.
referenced that
Yeah.
interview, but
Yeah.
he was just like, for me to change the flow of my life right now, for like that needs to be a really special person, like to incorporate someone into this routine that I've created. And I look around and I see all the guys that I love, all the people that I'm closest with are right here on the ship with me, and I'm driving. He put it that way. He's like, I'm driving the ship, like. For me to hand over the wheel or share that wheel with some, like it needs to be such a miraculous connection. That's kind of how I feel. I actually like posted it and I was like, this is how I feel. Because it's just like, I've already been there and been in the trenches with that and like feeling like I found that person and then coming out of it. It just needs to be someone really special, and it has to be more than sex, because
yeah,
having a lot of sex.
Yeah.
But like it's just that, and it's just like even that I've challenged myself. Like I think a lot of the sex I have still is egotistical.
dude. I mean, you're a male, like,
Yeah.
and you're like when you talk about Bruce Lipton and epigenetics, like the deepest part of you is to like be primitive and like mate with
Right.
as many women as you can
Right.
to put as
Yeah,
many.
it's innate in us.
I mean, so it's like
It's innate in us, and I understand that, and trust me, I give way to that. I give way to that natural.
it's a tough beast to like suppress.
But
for
there's
sure.
there's definitely like at least a conscious, bringing it to my consciousness that like I'm doing this because like I'm a rapper and I'm Mike, and I feel a little better when I fuck something.
See, that's what's cool about you. Hey, that's what's cool about you, because you can admit that.
Yeah.
You can admit that.
I mean,
so
shit.
you're aware. And hey, honestly, like whenever you are ready, it's gonna manifest just like everything else in your life.
Yeah. No.
But like right now, you need to do Mike. You need to do 2020.
Yeah.
And whatever happens after that, like
Right.
it'll happen.
Again, if we're practicing what we're preaching, then we understand that's going to flow to us when the time
Exactly.
is right, you know, and
Exactly.
everything in between that is also meant to be as well.
And it might not. Like there might not be.
Might not
like,
be. And I'm open to that.
Exactly.
I'm open
See,
to that.
you got open to all
Yeah,
possibilities.
attached to nothing, baby. You know, I'm open. I have weaknesses. I have times where I'm like, oh, I'm lonely. You know, like, oh, I wish so and so was here. You know, like I wish someone was here that I could connect with and talk to, because you can't tell your boys everything. There's that like separate connection that you have with your, let's call it a spouse, even though it's not a spouse.
Yeah.
You know, like with that female to male yin and yang connection
Yeah.
that there's another layer that they get access to that your boys probably don't get.
That's real.
You know?
That's
So it's
so
like
real.
I find myself yearning for that here and there still. And then I just go back into my thoughts and I'm like, you gotta be open. You gotta be open to whatever life is handing you. You know,
Yeah.
like and like it's meant to be the way it is right now. And that's how I've taken it. And I take that into every day.
Yeah. And so like to that, like to quote like what you were saying, once you allow yourself to become vulnerable, you're no longer vulnerable. And like a good woman,
Boom.
a good woman allows you to just like let it out. And now you're like, I got nothing to fear.
Right.
I'm not vulnerable anymore because I let you in.
I had a tweet. I said, vulnerability is bravery,
It is.
because it's like being vulnerable is brave.
Dude, being tough and like hiding everything.
insecurity.
Like, yeah, that's all that it is. Like, if you got to carry a strap, you scared of something. And I'm not saying like it's wrong to carry, because
Right.
sometimes you need to.
No, some people are in those situations.
Yeah, for sure. But like there's some people, like there's a
It's living in a state of fear, for sure.
yeah, there's a dude in my hometown. There's no crime in my town. He walks around with a pistol on his hip. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But like, it's his way to like express dominance and show that he ain't scared of nothing, but really he's scared of everything.
Right.
If you weren't scared of nothing, you wouldn't carry.
Right.
And if you weren't scared of anything, you would share yourself just like you can with your girl. And you do that in your music too.
I do, and I do it here. And honestly, it's equally for me as it is for other people, because it feels like therapy. You know what I mean? I'm able to talk through.
And when somebody that admires you sees that, they're like,
They can do it.
I can be vulnerable too, and that's
Yeah.
gonna help me grow. And
Right.
that's what I really liked about watching some of the stuff before I came over here. I was like, man, this is gonna be a good time for us to like.
This was easy, buddy. This was easy.
Cake,
So I'm
bro.
gonna do like we're gonna be touring, and an idea I had like we'll be podcasting on tour. Like, you
Be
know, when
awesome.
I'm in your city, you come to a show,
Easy.
we'll do a podcast, you know, and I'm like,
Easy.
I'll have recurring guests. So you got to come on multiple times, whenever
Yeah.
whenever available.
Yeah.
You know, but man, it's been a fucking pleasure, bro.
Dude, thank you so much
For anyone
inviting
who's
me
not
on.
a fan of you after listening, like, there's no way you can't be a fan. And I know, you know, in certain places, in certain parts of your career, you've had backlash from whether it was media or just, you know, certain, like, that's how it is. The scrutiny of being a public figure.
Yeah.
You've experienced that. And like, I've taken the stance on this podcast many times, like trying to humanize athletes a little bit more for people.
Yeah, I
you guys are
appreciate
not
that.
commodities. Like,
Thank you.
You're not and you're treated as such in a lot of ways, especially online.
Just a human, bro.
Like, yeah, like
Just trying to, like,
just think
play
about what
ball.
you're saying and putting out in the world about people just because they're an athlete. They're not even from your town. They're representing your town.
Yeah.
And like, these people feel like this ownership, this weird ownership over them, where they can like treat them as a piece of furniture in some
Yeah.
ways, you know?
And look,
it's-
man, like it's part of it.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's
and
part
that's
of
the
it.
that's the way. That's the way
Yeah.
that's the way you just persevere through it. But
Dude, I got off social media for months because
you just couldn't.
I was affected.
Yeah.
I was affected. And then before I got back on, I was like, I'm not affected anymore.
Made an agreement with yourself to just
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now, as many DMs that I can reply to that's reasonable, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Because, dude, there's kids all the time like, hey, do you have any tips? And it's like,
just-
if I open this can of worms, like, you know, now they have access to me.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
You know, there's people who really abuse. You know,
course.
when I answer once and then I don't answer for 10 messages and then
Yeah.
they're you know what I mean, like there's plenty of those scenarios, but you know what your intentions are when you sit there and you try to hear them, give them a real answer.
Yeah.
You know, and that's giving.
Yeah, man.
You know, so.
Hey, dude, I really appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you, bro.
And please invite me over for another,
We need maybe a little shindig over here. We'll get you a little shindig. It's off season.
Before I take off.
It's off season. Yeah.
I leave.
How long are you here?
I leave February 2nd.
Okay.
So
you're here for a little bit.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
So
we'll get one in.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, buddy.
For
Thank
sure.
you. Thanks. So for everyone listening, if you're not, a Pirates fan or a Rays fan, they might not know of you until now. Chris Archer, what's your Instagram, Twitter?
Chris Archer 24.
24 on both?
Yeah. Twitter's 22.
22.
Yeah. Chris Archer 22.
Gotta get those synced.
I know. Well, I tried, but
Doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's more important for like artists or brands.
Yeah.
For it to be aligned.
If they type in Chris Archer, they'll find it.
Yeah. Everyone go follow him and be a fucking fan. I call my fans Steves. It's a long running joke.
Okay.
They're gonna start calling you
Your
Steve.
dog's name is Steve.
Yeah,
too.
we call everyone Steve.
Okay.
You're a Steve.
All right.
You're already Steve. You just didn't
How
know
do I
yet.
become a Mike? I want to be a Mike.
Not possible. You
Can never
fuck that
get
guy.
there.
You don't want to be that guy. But yeah, man, thanks so much. This is awesome.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.